everybody, it's Calxiyn and Hunter here, or hopefully it is, if we're going live.
It's the,
you know, it's always hit or miss
even
sometimes.
if it is us, it's the shell of Hunter and Calxiyn. Do you know why? Do you know why, Cal?
Okay, yeah, we're streaming, yeah. Why?
Because there is people feel like, you know, there's moments in their life, you know,
right.
there's like, or like, you know, well, that's me in high school, that was me when I was a little kid, this is me now. I feel like my life can be split into two moments, into two eras.
Right.
There is before RWBY Volume 7 Episode 11, and there's after RWBY Volume 7 Episode 11. And after RWBY Volume 7 Episode 11, Hunter is not having a good time. After RWBY Volume 7 Episode 11, Hunter is really stressed out and kind of nervous. Because at the start, I was so happy. You know, we got the subtitles back.
Yeah! That's what I was like, guys! We have the subtitles!
We had a good fight. We had a fun talk before we did the video.
Fun time.
I was on the top of the world. I was on the top of the world.
And then...
and like all things, it came crashing down.
So, if you guys don't know, alright, I have been at a Disney audition, and I've been awake since 5 in the morning, so that is where we are with that. I'm tired. Forgive me, please. We are gonna be doing our best over here, but if you guys are like, I see somebody being like, y'all are late as fuck, like, no. Trust me, like, we are right on time for our schedule today. Like, we had to record our reaction, obviously, but after the Disney audition, it had started blizzarding, and, like, me and my mom had to drive home, and she's driving on, like, 20 on the highway.
I had to break out... I had to break out the goddamn snowshoes just to walk the 10 minutes to Cal's house.
Yeah, so guys, like, listen, this is no joke, okay? Newfoundland has, like, 70 centimeters of snow. We're not that bad, but, like, it's not pretty over here. I'm glad that the power's still on. So now not only are we tired, we are emotionally distraught. You know what's funny? At the audition...
Nothing anymore, nothing anymore, nothing anymore.
At the audition, these girls had dogs, and they weren't, like, they didn't have a service vest or anything. Like, they weren't, like, clearly, like, you're a guide dog or you're a service dog for someone with a disability. It was just somebody's dog, and, like, these girls had their dogs, and I'm like, I wish I could have an emotional support animal for this RWBY episode. That is all that I am thinking about today. So, dramatic music, as it says. I really like the effects. Can we just talk about that? Yes. I think the effects of, like, especially when people's aura are breaking, like, they have made a clear, like, nice little, like, boo-boo-boo-boo, like, effect. I don't know how to explain it.
Bippity-boppity-boo! You can now receive mortal wounds.
Now. Thank you, Malin, for the $5 donation.
Ooh.
But yeah, we all just, you know, pour one out for the boys.
We're getting a sandwich at Subways now.
But yeah, and so I love, like, the effects and all that, and, like, everyone's making memes with Watson. It's like, it's high noon. Like, you guys are gonna see during this analysis, by the way, that I'm losing my fucking mind. But anyways.
So they just start shooting at each other.
And he's like 19. So we only had 20 rounds. Like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so if there's 7 on both sides, that's probably 14.
That's maybe 10, because there's maybe 1 and 2 and 1 and 2.
I would say there's 5 in the middle, and then 5, like, 5 that side and 5 the other side.
And there's the 2 rows.
Math makes sense. Like, no?
So no. 10. So it would be 10 and 10 and 20. Okay.
So yeah. And so Ironwood uses his weapon to, like
shoot himself,
and I'm assuming that's gravity dust.
So that's just not RWBY's thing. Everyone apparently shoots and uses the recoil to launch themselves, like they're in the International Space Station. And at the end of this episode, you can see the
little graph of, like, start here, and then they both, like, a little maze, like, it's a
kind of like
kid's puzzle.
They also did that in Volume 5 for the Raven Cinder fight. So it's interesting to get into the mind of someone planning out. Because
I really like this planning, though, because it's very clear, whereas I think in the RWBY companion book it had planning, but it was like, here's a rough sketch.
It was more
here's
difficult.
Another rough sketch.
It was more difficult to understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, to be fair, I've also read, like, RWBY fanfiction, where my favorite one, it was a Blake versus...
So, okay, Watts, what the fuck, alright?
Okay.
Did you see that?
What?
Okay, hold on. So, I just hit the microphone, this is going great. So, Watts shot... And see that little yellow thing? That was his bullet. And I'm like, He
He's
shot
not a
over
great
there,
shot.
but
He's
Josh
a
is over here.
scientist. He doesn't know what to do with
I just
the
think it's
script.
funny, okay?
The whole
Leave me
time
alone.
he's like sciencing
These
while he's
things
also shooting people.
humor me. These things humor me. These things make me
Anyways,
laugh because my brain is.
There's a
doing
classic
garbage.
RWBY fanfiction moment for myself where Blake fights Yang, and Yang blocks one sword with one hand, blocks the other with the other, and then punches Yang. And I was sitting there reading it like, does she have a third hand? That's
What?
impossible because both of her hands were busy blocking.
Right.
So this is
You'd
why
have to, like,
you
go and
plan.
punch.
This is why you plan fights, Cal, or else you end up like RWBY fanfiction. Speaking of fights, this is a really good one.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
Look at that. I have like oh my
Can we
God.
look at his
Look
face?
at that
Oh my
smear
God.
frame. Can we just like guys, like hello? Like this is when Watts knew he fucked up.
So this was
I
a
love
really
this fight.
this
Oh my
was a
God.
really interesting fight. Is
Yeah.
that they had the motif of Watts the entire time was like using gravity. It
Yeah.
kind of even reminded
He was
me
also
of
just using like other stuff
Yes.
in the environment.
He
Like
scienced
there's the
his way out
water
of it.
spout and all that.
Mhm.
I don't think Watts is dead, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, let's just go through the fight as it currently was, because it was nice that it was intense, but I didn't lose
I
my
like
mind.
the hard light dust because I
Mhm.
feel like that's a really good example of, again, like planting. Like we've
Mhm.
heard about light dust in like volumes 1 to 3, but we also didn't. And so basically they introduced this in volume 6, right? To
Yeah.
most people, right?
Mhm.
Like hardcore fans may have known about it before or like seen it before. Does that make sense? But in terms of like the actual, like most people, it was a volume 6 concept, and now it has come back
Yes.
in sort of the shields and like what Ironwood, what happens to his arm, like
Well,
all that.
It's
sort
also
of
nice
stuff.
because, like, who knows? Maybe this guy invented like the use of hard light dust.
This guy, you mean what?
Watts, yes.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's
This guy.
possible, right?
Who?
But yeah,
Yeah.
people are also. Can you guys up the audio? That's something we've never heard before. All right, let's.
Are we just not yelling enough?
Like, are we just not yelling loud enough? Are you guys okay?
Do you want us a lot louder? Okay.
How's the volume? Are you guys okay? Is it just maybe that one person not putting both of their ears buds in? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I'm just checking the chat. Yeah, so Caleb
Yes.
Hales.
Yes. He is a
Hiles?
singer on YouTube. He does a lot of covers for anime. And
Yeah.
like he does I've seen him do the opening for like Black Paper Moon for Soul Eater.
Yeah,
and
he's
also
really good, and
some
he
Naruto
did some
openings.
RWBY songs, and now he's
I did not
there,
know he did
which
that.
is where I'm like, sis, like I'm trying.
You
all
wanna
right,
get in
I
there?
want to get in there. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Right? Guys, stream Trust Love by Calxiyn singing in her shower.
That is not
in 2019.
on any
2020.
streaming services.
Anyway, it's on YouTube. It's okay.
I was surprised by the degree in which Watts was able to like put up his own in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
like, obviously.
And it's here that he starts playing with the gravity, I think, for the first time.
And it's hard to sort of tell, but I think that when it's... Actually, I don't think I know how this works.
When it's
I think
purple
it's
gravity?
purple.
Maybe, but
I
then
don't
that
know.
one's white.
But then
so
you
who
see
knows?
later, like, I'm not sure.
Does that mean this could have happened in like the regular Amity Arena
yeah,
fight in
because
Volume
there's
3?
a picture, somebody showed me a picture and it's a Penny and she's like finishing her fight or something, and like it's this arena.
Oh,
Like
okay.
this was supposed to be a
like the
used...
Sea Soleil one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. This was supposed to be something. Okay.
It was
So
supposed to be something. Now they're running
see,
along
like,
the
look,
walls.
okay, so he changes that one and he falls. So I
Yeah.
feel like that if it's
Okay. Purple.
purple,
Like,
the gravity stops, which is a
Mhm.
little confusing because I think purple equals gravity, right?
Yeah.
But I guess if it equals gravity, gravity makes you fall. But when I see the purple, I think of him floating. Does
Mhm.
that make sense? So yeah, the color combination confuses me a little. But you see, Ironwood almost loses balance there. I love
this
this.
is weirdly funny. Like, I
Like,
didn't expect this.
Boop, like he just butters away, and I love that. And you
He
can
got,
see he got geysered, which I think was pretty
Very
funny.
similar to Weiss didn't get geysered. She got like fire geysered. in Volume 3.
No. Like I think that this is funny because I mean he just gets
it's
thrown
adorable.
like a rag doll.
But I'm like thinking like we've seen that like
yeah,
when
I mean
Weiss
no.
pushes himself and
Weiss,
Flint.
like
in
that
the geyser.
happened, right? Yeah, and
It's a fire
It's a
geyser
fire
there.
one though.
Yes.
And so yeah,
Let's
I
talk
think
about-
it's funny because it just
It's just funny looking.
It's just funny.
He's just like doot, and like the way his like little legs are moving, especially one later on where you see Watts running into foreground.
I just
or rather
love it. I
background.
don't know, but yeah, you can see him sort of like in the air and all that stuff. So I noticed this now. One of them's black and one of them's white, and so a lot of people are thinking like yin and yang
The duality
situations,
of
like
himself.
and stuff like that. And so we'll talk. I don't know what hand movement this is. I'm trying to do a circle. If you guys can't tell, trying to make a circle.
Arguably, he could have
like
just
this.
done this.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. So the yin and yang
She's very tired, guys.
stuff.
Stuff.
Yeah. So
The light side,
I don't
the
know
dark side.
what yin and yang stands for exactly. Like, it's one creation and one destruction?
no,
Because that's
it's-
what Miraculous Ladybug taught us. I
don't know if I've heard the correct one, but I've heard being like the black is the bad, the white is the good.
The
white
koi
and the
fish
black
from
is
Avatar.
yes. I mean, they look
What
like
does
that
that
as
mean?
well. I don't know. Just they borrowed that kind of yin
I know, but
yang
like,
symbolism as
is
well.
it like creation and destruction? Is it good
It's
and
good-
evil?
it's good and
Okay,
evil.
The chat
And then
is saying good
the
and evil.
the
Thank
black
you.
and the white is the good and the bad.
Right.
And or no,
And the
or
bad
bad
and the
good,
good
and the good and the bad.
Right,
Yes,
and so I
is
feel
how I've
like
had it
I
described to
think
me.
later Ironwood loses one of his guns, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure it's the good gun. So
that could be
that's awkward.
symbolism.
But
I
yeah,
did
we're
not
gonna
notice
talk
that.
about the symbolism in a minute because I did note,
So
like
far-
pausing it, I'm like, they're two different colors. Very interesting. And Amity Arena made a big deal out of this, right? Amity Arena was like, which character could this be? There's something about Ironwood no one's ever noticed before. He has two guns, right? And so that was like a whole thing. Light and dark, push and pull, creation and destruction. These are the many names of good and evil.
I feel like
Basically
this
what the chat
person
said.
might not
I like
know
that.
that much about it.
But yeah, see how they're upside down? So
Yeah.
this is the one where the gravity's activated on this yellow,
Okay.
which, again, like, colorization-wise kind of confuses me. Like, I would think, like purple's
You
for
know,
gravity.
I didn't initially even notice that either. There's some very interesting camera
Of,
work
like, little
playing
faces.
with the
I
perspectives.
just love this fight so much. I think that this is so good. But yeah, you can see how...
God, Watts is
Watts
one lanky motherfucker.
and he just falls
I was
to
also
the ground.
surprised to the degree in which he can like take a beating and fight back.
Yeah. I mean, he is a pretty... Whoo. He just got punched across the face. Did you guys see that? Oh my god. But yeah.
Yeah, this is when he goes for the throat.
This is the
This was
chokehold
very
one.
dark.
Yeah.
And then the near shot to the head. It's just these are two people that desperately want to kill each other.
I know.
And it's almost distressing.
But
so
why?
He lost the white
Are
gun, or
they
is that the black
lovers?
gun?
Are they brothers? We
Well,
don't know.
He does make a reference to that once we've gotten
yeah,
through
like
the
I
various
feel
fight
like
scenes.
I tried to give you everything you wanted. Like I feel like I don't know.
It could go either way.
I feel like we don't. I feel like if they were gonna say it, they would have said it in this episode. But at the same time, this episode only sounds more like they fucked. So there you go. Yeah, I think he just lost his because I think this is a symbolism, right? Watts makes him lose.
Well, he didn't
the
lose.
good,
He put it
right?
in his holster.
Did he?
Put it in his
put
holster.
it away.
But
No?
he put it
Oh,
away though,
yeah,
which is
he
I
put
think
it away, and so that's
in
like
itself.
takes away the good, right? We'll get to that
Something.
again later. But yeah, see how I love that.
And then he's running, and then near the end, he changes it.
Yeah,
it's
so he
no
changes
longer-
it so it's purple. So we know that purple is the non-stick one.
And I also
basically.
like how the camera moves to like describe it like, no, it's not a flat surface. It's now a sheer cliff as gravity changes.
Yeah, exactly.
We're losing
Oh.
it because we've cut it up in screenshots, but in the
Yeah.
moment, the gravity
Oh, the
feels
camera
very
angles
fluid
are
and
great.
really
Like I've
interesting.
talked about this so many times with like the direction of the camera in like these RWBY, like.
Especially the fight.
So,
this fight scene. I think
Here's
is very
what I'm
strong.
noticing.
Yes.
What is that?
I don't know, just a random rock smoldering in
Because
the
if
fire.
Watts falls on that, would he be okay? Like, anyway, I'm just, you know,
I
trying to
don't
keep
know.
Watts alive in
To
any
what-
way possible.
Was it actual lava? Like, were they?
Look at him! He's
Yeah,
just
that was the funny one. Like,
Like, that's, you know what I mean? He's just running away. Oh
like
my
Mary
God.
Poppins running on the smoke from
Yeah,
the chimneys.
I
It's
guess
just
so.
a little weird looking.
And so he's like, ha, I got
God,
you,
I hope I don't end
Ironwood.
in that anymore.
So, here's what so that's the thing, right? He thinks Ironwood has been defeated by the fire, and now he's all cocky, but...
Which also, how did he get over? I don't know. Took a big jump.
And then he realizes that that's not the...
I have the high
obviously not
ground.
the case.
He has a
Ha-
frosty boot.
ha-
I will admit that some of these, like...
I love them fighting in midair.
The
I think
midair
that's
grappling was awkward, but I think it was meant to be awkward, and it would feel
great. I just
awkward.
want to say we have 100 people in the stream. Thank you. what happened? I
100
guess
people
this is,
can
like,
see us be sleep deprived.
Yeah, I guess the snow just got sloshy.
No, I guess that's just
That's
like
his boot. That's from his shoe.
No,
isn't it?
that's like to get the impact of like the oof.
Oh, so it's a smear like frame, basically.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, yeah, because it just
imply
went away. I was
damage.
like, is that the water? Yeah, I got a weird shot. I guess that's basically what happened.
My vape, no. He just slams him on the ground.
Yeah,
green
so this
aura.
is when we first see his aura start to like be like, hey bro,
Which,
I can't take this
surprising-
anymore.
Yeah, and
Right.
it busts immediately.
Yeah.
He doesn't have much of an aura, so you
Well,
can
we
kind
saw
of
it
see
glow
that.
twice,
Yes.
didn't we? Like, we saw the one part was like,
Mhm.
bro, you
But
know,
just from, like,
this is
punches.
getting bad, right? And then you have his aura break again. So I love this aura effect, and I think this
Mhm.
aura effect makes so much more sense, right? Because they were having that problem for a while. Like, how is the audience supposed to know when an aura breaks or when it just cracks? And like, you know, people do that. Why does the aura oh boy. Why does the aura glow twice? The chat is asking. So it glows once as like a final warning. Like, hey bro,
You might die.
you may not want to do that, sis.
It
And then
becomes
this time,
visible the more
it breaks.
Yeah.
Right, like it just breaks apart. So it's like the crackling is... Yeah. There you go.
It's a helpful effect
why
because
is his
watching
aura
this, I
green?
realized.
Well,
what
that's
happened.
a good question.
His eyes are green because
Yeah,
arbitrary.
I
it
mean,
works
I think
with
so.
the
I think
colors.
it looks nice as it's green. I don't know. I think it looks nice.
Yeah, it's at this, this shot I really dug.
Yeah,
the flipping
because you
upside
can still
down.
tell how.
Yes. The
So
camera
even
work was
after
wonderful.
Watts falls from that high, he's still okay. But you also
But
see
Ironwood
Ironwood has
busted,
also
yes.
been busted. Yeah, so eye color, right?
Mhm.
Ironwood's eyes are blue. His aura is blue. Watts' eyes are green. His aura is green. There you go. Okay. Why is Ruby's aura red? I don't know.
Because
Okay?
she looks red, I don't know.
But yeah, I like how they ended up back where they started,
Yes.
and this is where the final showdown
And they
happens.
really did run through the entire ring of
really
it.
did.
Like, you can see that one gap where they had to jump
So,
across it.
The way that Watts says this is so much more different than how he said it the first time to Jacques, right? And I feel like we're gonna find out more because there's still something going on here that we don't quite understand, okay? You never appreciated my genius, James.
And then we have...
You just stood on top of it and called yourself a giant. You guys can read. I don't know why I'm doing this.
Which, I guess, confirmed here, James is a top? I don't. Anyways, standing on top. Anyway, I
gave you everything you could have wanted.
That could go either
Discuss.
way. Is that
sounds
like
like
embittered exes, or is
That sounds like embittered exes to me, okay?
You
Like,
didn't
I really
sign
wanted
off
them
on
to
my-
be brothers, okay? I really, really wanted them to be brothers. But, like, I don't know, like, does that not seem... I gave you everything you could have wanted. Like, why was that not enough? Like, is that not...
It could go either way.
Okay.
I'm definitely agreeing with you
So,
on that.
type 1 in the chat if you guys think that they're still related. Type 2 in the chat if you guys think that they are lovers, and we're gonna find out more about it later.
Type 3 if you
Type
think
3
they're
in the
just
chat
colleagues.
if you think that this is just a bromance that went awry.
They
basically.
just colleagues that hate each other.
Yeah.
I'm getting a lot
Okay,
of
so we're getting some
twos.
twos. Yeah, okay.
Okay, mostly 2s.
What did I say was 2? The lover? Yeah.
2 wasn't love.
2 was lovers.
2 was
yeah.
lovers?
Yeah.
I thought
Okay.
1 was
There's some
lovers.
3s. There's some 3s in the chat. Okay.
I thought, no, 2 was bromance gone
Just
wrong.
yeah, 3 was bromance gone wrong.
No,
okay.
3 was, no, 3, okay, yeah.
Some people are also saying 3. 2 to 3. Okay, great.
Okay.
Somebody said 3 twice. That doesn't count, okay? But yeah, so it's just, I don't know, like, there's just something a little deeper than just, like, we were friends and I gave you everything you could ever wanted. Like, do you guys talk to your friends like that?
But it
'Cause,
could
like,
have
I don't
also been, like, expense reports. I don't know. Like, it would be less interesting if it was...
So, here's what you chose that rat imbecile over me.
No, who's the rat imbecile?
What?
So,
Who is
Pietro?
that?
Because he picked Pietro's penny project? Wow, that rhymes.
But,
Could it be
rat?
Jacques?
Why a
rat?
rat?
I don't know. Is because he's a rat? Did he rat someone out? Did Pietro rat someone out? Jacques is very
fat.
rat-like.
You guys think he's saying fat.
But it says rat in the thing.
Fat that wouldn't be very nice.
That rat, but it specifically says rat imbecile in the captions.
Yeah.
So either that's a mistake.
Said fat. You guys think that he said fat?
I don't know.
You guys really think? He said fat imbecile, not rat. Yeah, because we were reading the subtitles. I thought he said fat imbecile, fat. Watts is not very nice. He said fat, it was rat, maybe a misspell. I think the subs are wrong. Fat, he's talking about Penny's father. Okay, fat makes a lot more sense. But when we watched the episode the first time, it said rat, and we were like, who the fuck? Like, excuse me?
Fat, it would make sense if it's,
subtitles have been on the fritz lately. Wait, I thought I heard rat too. Okay, we're gonna investigate.
I thought it was rat.
Okay,
I'm gonna.
Where's the Rooster Teeth app? Everything is
goodness.
just red on my phone. I don't know why.
Because
we're gonna look up the episode.
Because my guess is Jacques more, or is he just like being mean?
Well, if he said fat, that would be Pietro. Unfortunately, yeah, that doesn't do RWBY any favors. Like, people were really upset. Like,
were people upset?
People were upsetty. Like, upsetty spaghetti
so
about
it's 4:34.
Yeah. About the fat joke from earlier and using that lady as a fat joke, right? And now you have Watts being like, that fat imbecile, like, that's not nice.
But then again, he is a villain who tries to kill people, so arguably it makes sense that he's a little mean.
They couldn't have, like, oh yes, Watts, your skinniness definitely.
Not everyone's a skinny legend like you, Watts.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's listen. Everyone listen. I think he does say fat.
It is fat.
Let's listen to it one more time.
I heard an F.
I heard an F as well. Or are we just hearing what we want to hear? Let's...
Call yourself a giant.
Okay. Printing.
I gave you everything you could have wanted. You chose that fat imbecile.
I think he said fat.
It sounded like bat to me that time. So maybe it's just really difficult to tell. I don't know, man.
I heard fat again. Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
So it could be Pietro.
I think he said, okay, that makes sense then, that it's Pietro, so he was mad that he chose the Penny Project over him.
Makes a certain degree of sense.
I guess that makes me think more number 3, like, compared to, like...
Yeah.
Colleagues now.
But, yeah.
Has anyone mentioned yet how Cal's theory about their dynamic being Mufasa and Scar was basically confirmed this episode? No! But yes! That is a point! Because, like, he's just
brothers.
like, the brain over brawn.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Like, all that stuff.
They're certainly that.
Like, okay, so I committed a sin. Okay, I erased our whiteboard for my New Year's resolution. But I feel like at the very end of the season, we can sort of recap and figure out, like, what we got right if we really feel... Oh gosh, I put my volume up. Sorry, because we had to hear that line. Yeah, I guess he was mad. But what was Watts' project? Yeah, exactly. What was Watts' idea then?
Was the Paladin him? Because he was part of the Paladin incident. I don't know.
That's not good.
Was it hard light? I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know how I feel about all the fat stuff that has been happening this season.
But maybe it is rat, because like when I was listening to it the second time, it sounded bat, so it could have been a lot of things.
Can we get Eddie Rivas? Can you tell us? Just tell us who he's talking about. We're so confused. I say Eddie because, again, I know that Eddie watches our analysis sometimes. Like, we need help. Like, I don't... Who is he talking about? Is it
We're
Pikachu?
Lost and confused.
Is it Jock? Are we not supposed to know? Like, could he also say that?
Did Ironwood bang a rat faunus?
Oh
I don't...
God. Maybe... What if that's the...
What if that's
what if that's it? Like, what if that's, like, that goes with them being lovers, is that...
Banged a rat faunus?
Yeah, you
Have we
chose
seen
that
a rat
faunus?
You boinked Bucky the rat faunus!
I'm pretty sure they're just talking about Pietro. Cal is lost in the sauce.
A little bit.
What does that mean? Oh God.
It means you're wasted.
Yeah. I mean, no. I'm just tired.
This was really interesting.
So yeah, I thought, okay, because we thought that Ironwood was gonna die. And will Ironwood die? Probably.
Will he become a villain before he dies? I think we've already gotten that answer.
That antagonist. But yeah, so what I'm saying though is, like, I thought that Watts got him. It was not that easy. So there's that.
But he's like, but that's so, like, Western.
I suppose in this instance, my brains and your brawn are evenly matched, right? Because Mufasa, like, Scar was like,
Brains.
I guess I inherited the brains. You always had the brawn of the family, Mufasa, right? Like, there's all that sort of stuff. So, there you go, right? So, yeah. And I like how you're not the only one who can count. I love that. So he has no more bullets left, I guess.
That's very, like, Western, like, counting your bullets, and I really
Oh,
dug
but
it.
he says he knows, and so it was all a trap, right? Because he thought that
Yes.
if he could get him stuck in the hard light,
Mhm.
then everything would be okay. But it was not okay.
And it burns his hand, which is horrifying.
Yeah.
I really wasn't
Yeah.
prepared to how brutal this
We'll
fight
talk
was
about
gonna
that
be.
in a minute.
Because earlier it was like, oh, it's such fun. They're jumping around like Super Mario Galaxy, and now his skin is burning.
Yeah, so that's his muscle, right? Like, that's what your muscle would
I
look
think
like.
that just looks like burn.
I don't think so. I
That's
think
what I
that's
get,
like, you know how
burn.
your muscles are red underneath your
Yeah.
skin? Pretty sure that's a skin. Pretty sure his skin is burning off.
I don't know.
Just
but
saying. You know? Yikes. So yeah.
I don't know
You
if
can
it's
see this
deep enough.
horrified expression on his face. Like, it's literally like,
It's pretty
hail
brutal.
the iron booty. Where's the iron booty? Hold on a second.
I love
Just
how you're.
Ooh. Oh, that ass. That's Watts, though.
I mean,
I
if
just,
they're
you know.
related, they both got
Oh,
the
God.
iron booty.
I
suppose.
just wanna, I don't know what you guys are talking about, so I just would like to rewind the stream.
And search for the iron booty.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been over here, I guess. I don't know. Am I blind?
No, you're not blind. Just some people are really good at capturing
At
that
capturing
beautiful
the iron
moment where an
booty.
animated character's butt is out.
Yeah, I mean, there was Watts' butt.
So moving forward to his arm being just cooked,
Well-
I can smell it. I think there was a sizzling sound effect,
Oh, God.
and it was just horrible.
Yeah.
And his yelling into smoke, it was gutturally upsetting. Rebuilding those rings is going to be
So,
a pain.
here's what I'm confused about, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. Yeah, really.
Metal to that body
And
of
we'll
yours.
talk about that, because there's a thing that I'm gonna talk about there. So, what is he looking
Where
for?
did they put them?
Did I miss something? What is he looking for exactly?
Is he thinking, who is they? Is it like the
the
controls?
scientists, right? Like, where
Maybe?
did the scientists put them? But what's them? Where did they put them? Do you guys know? Are we just stupid?
The controls, or
'Cause I'm
maybe them
assuming,
and they
like-
are the scientists? That's my best guess.
I was assuming it's floating, right? So
Yes.
where's the battery to make it fall?
If
right?
that is what he
Them
wants.
equals the relics? You guys think it's the relics?
Does he think
I
it's
think
the
it was the control. I think
I
he's trying out how to properly shut down the tower.
That's what I think it's going
yeah,
on.
I guess.
Although it could be something else. Because, like, I'm paranoid now that I think it's something else.
Not relics, Chad is saying. I don't know.
The controls to the CTC?
I feel like he wanted to make it fall
Yes.
or something.
Not broadcast a message, necessarily.
What if it still
I don't
falls?
know.
Like, what if Watts is still alive, but then he dies again?
Well,
you know what I mean?
certainly
Because, like,
something not great is
we
happening
don't
here.
know where did he put them, but that wouldn't be an escape route. Like, you know what I mean? He wouldn't be like, where did they put them? Like, there wouldn't be natural escape routes in here. You wouldn't have to escape,
Mhm.
right? I think that he, you know what I mean? Like, if Watts isn't already dead, right? Because we saw Watts, we didn't actually see Watts. We just saw him get strangled and held
Yes.
over a cliff. We did not see Watts fall, and I feel like that's very important.
No body, no death, everyone.
No body, no death, sis. But what I'm thinking is, like, what's gonna happen is either James let him go because Watts told him something,
Yes.
and that's why he came home all
And all freaked out.
freaked out.
Maybe
Exactly.
does he know that Neo and Cinder are here?
I don't know.
Is that who he's referring to?
No, where did they put them? Why would Neo and Cinder be in there?
They.
yeah, I think
the
he
they being Neo and Cinder.
Yeah,
and them
I
being
think he
something
wanted
else.
to self-destruct Amity Tower, the chat is saying. I think that is the right answer.
Mhm.
I think basically what he was gonna do was a self-suicide. Get rid of Ironwood, but also, like, ram himself into Atlas, like we were
Mhm.
saying. And that may still happen if Watts is still alive.
I
Because,
mean,
like,
never say
Ironwood
never.
says, like, hey, like, instead of using the Amity Tower, we'll just put Atlas in the sky, which
Mhm.
has more than one reason, but what if it's because,
of something he's
yeah,
learned
of something
about
that he's
this.
done in this, like, one little scene
Because
as well, right?
the
This
Iron-
was never finished. though, at the
Ironwood
same time.
changes quite a lot.
Yeah.
Did he just not want to see him kill Watts? Did they have a heart to heart? Did we learn about their ex-lover past? Who knows?
Why would he need to find the controls when he already has them? Yeah! What is he looking for?
Neo and Cinder?
I mean, no! Why would he be looking
Beacon?
for Neo and Cinder,
The
though?
controls?
Where did they put them?
Maybe it changed? Well, no. Does he have the controls to Amity Arena?
He smiles, too. It's like he... I don't know.
Like, well, he already thinks he wins, so
I
now
feel
it's just
like
the easy
He
work.
has all the controls to control, like, the biomes, but not
Yes.
to make it self-destruct.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, he has no idea
Or
about
maybe he
Cinder
can
and Neo.
control Amity Tower, but the relay system is
Yeah.
different.
But the relay system was never ready, so he already knew
Because
that,
he
though.
had already, right, he already hacked into, like, the organizational
It's probably just a
aspects of
filler
it.
line. I feel like it's...
I feel like they wouldn't have
Because he
put
can
that in
control
there.
all the biomes already, but he
Yeah.
lost the rings, but he's still doing something with his other rings, so I'm like... Maybe it is like, how do we make this explode? I feel like maybe that's it. I don't know. Where
Who
did
knows?
they
There could
put
be
the
something else.
button to make this fall out of the sky? Something like that. I don't know.
The
Maybe it is
relics,
something
does he
else.
think the relics are here?
Yeah, maybe he does think that the relics are here and they're using the relic to hold up the...
Oh, right,
The
because
tower.
he knows that, but he probably doesn't know what the other relics does, so he
Right.
thinks that all the relics have the same job. Power.
Well, I don't
So
think
maybe
that's
he thinks
necessarily it.
the
I
relic
think
of
maybe
knowledge
he thinks...
Or the lamp can do
No,
the same
I think
thing.
it's more maybe he thinks that
They're gonna use
he thinks that they have used the relic of creation on Amity Tower and that it's not holding up,
Yes.
right? I think that
Yes.
maybe that's what he means. I think relics makes the most sense. Yeah, I think that maybe...
But he says them as plural, so I'm guessing he thinks both of them are being used?
Oh my god, this is so confusing. I don't know.
So
If
those
somebody-
are some ideas.
We have ideas, but nobody in the chat can tell us for sure, it seems like, so we're not stupid. It was left.
I feel like
purposely vague.
eventually we'll end up doing a video about
Yeah, I
this
feel
to some
like-
degree.
I don't know, because I'm looking at where he's looking. Where did they put that? Like, he's looking at a bunch of different stuff.
Because those are
right?
all just like, he's like going through all the settings, like, oh, that turns on the blinkers, that turns on the wipers.
So, I don't know, maybe it's like, where did they put that giant red button that they tell us not to touch? Something like that. But
Presumably.
yeah, we'll come back to that. Maybe it is the relics. Maybe he thinks the relic of creation is holding this up, because he wouldn't know that the relic of creation is actually holding up Atlas.
He might not. He might think all relics do the same thing. So
But
maybe
why
he thinks
would he
both of them.
think that?
I don't know, because he wasn't privy to all the information.
I guess. Anyway, so here's an interesting type of metaphor, right?
Deku.
Deku.
Yeah.
Thanks. No. So what I was gonna say is that Ironwood's metal side is on this side, right?
Yes.
His arm is on this side, and so basically what I'm thinking is like it's a metaphor, like he's not severed because his hand is obviously still attached, but he has destroyed his arm.
His humanity.
And that's the last, like, part of his humanity. Exactly. And that goes with his gun, because he still lost his other gun. I think, like, I don't remember the exact
Does he
scene
just
it
have the
happened in.
black gun
He
now?
just has the black gun now, I think.
Okay.
And so it's like, not only does he only have the black gun, which is the evil gun, the destruction gun, right, or whatever, but he has also burnt off the last part of him. Because remember, even Watts is like, hey, do you want to make yourself more metal? And it's making him more metal than man. And I feel like what Ironwood has sort of gone through here is this
He's losing his humanity.
big PTSD situation. Let's just back up a little bit. Hold on. I wanna get the full shot of Ironwood again, just so we can see what he... Yeah, I can't even see his stuff.
I feel like when
unfortunately.
we get
But
more...
yeah.
If we move forward instead of back, we'll get more of his...
He has the white one? Are you guys sure? Because I don't know. I mean, I thought I saw
I feel
him
like the
not,
burning
like,
the
lose.
burning of his human flesh is in itself
Yeah,
a
I think
metaphor
I think it's definitely it.
unrelated to his guns.
But I think he threw his gun on the table or something like that. Maybe that was it that I'm trying to think of.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it's like definitely the burning off of his
Human side.
humanity. But yeah, I think that later he throws the black gun on the table. Maybe that's what I was thinking about. We'll get to that later, yeah.
But even so,
But yeah, one of his arms is metal and now his other one is also incapacitated. And so I feel like that's definitely like him losing that part of himself, like losing the human part
his
of himself.
connection
What
to...
was I saying? Right, like Ironwood like has gone through a whole thing. Like he was a dictator, he tried to learn to trust people.
Yes.
Those people kind of lied to him.
Arguably, he
little
looked
lie.
like a dictator
Right.
and then actually became one.
Right,
Once
and
he
now
lost his sort of
that
sense.
people have lied to him, he's like, well, fuck all you bitches. I guess I just have to do it this way, right? And I feel like that, I feel like this episode, a lot of people have divisive opinions on who's right in this situation. And I feel like that's intentional because no one's super wrong except for Salem, I guess.
I don't think
like,
it's that he was
Ironwood
lied to.
going up, well, yeah, it was, because he was like,
well, no,
one of you fucking leaked things to Robin.
You
lied to me about the relic.
He
Like,
was
he's pointing
okay with the
fingers
lying
at
about the
everyone.
relic, and when he still felt like he was ahead, he still had control. When he realizes that Cinder's there, because he thought he won right now.
Yeah.
When he realized Cinder is still there, he realizes, like, oh shit, we haven't
But
won
I
yet.
still think that it's like, he was only fine with it because it were all worked out. Right
Yeah.
now that things aren't working out, he's like, you told Robin about the tower. You lied to me about the relic, right? And so it's like he opened his heart to trust love and trust everyone, and it worked for like 5 minutes, and then everyone fucked him, and he was like, oh, well, guess we can't do that now. And I know it's more complicated, but I feel like that Ironwood is having hardcore PTSD, which they had shown before with the flashes to the Black Pawn thing. And, like, people don't... RWBY fans don't do well with PTSD in this show, like characters with PTSD. Like, it's like, Ironwood's like just evil. He's turned into a villain. Like, no, he's the antagonist, right? Nobody's denying that. He's opposing us.
He's not
but
doing the right thing, I believe.
He's not, I mean,
He's
I guess
not a
that
bad
depends on what
person.
you think that the right thing is.
But
like,
then again,
in a
he's also
philosophical,
the thing he's doing
ethical
might
argument.
involve
Right.
killing a lot of people in Mantle. So arguably, he's
I
not
mean, we can talk about like the psychology, the philosophy of like ethics
the morality
and stuff, and the
of his
train argument
actions.
and all that. But I think he's not wrong as in like, well, I want to murder everyone and
He's
their
not
families.
as bad as Salem.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a people are saying tragic villain, which I think is fine. I just see it more as like, I don't know.
He's
thinking the needs of the many over the needs of the few.
But
what makes him decide that the Atlas are the many and Mantle are the few? Is it the pure numbers of people?
I don't think it's the needs of I don't think it's the Klingon or the Vulcan thing. I think it's more like the ends justify the means. It's okay if people die so long as
I would
we're
say
safe
needs of
up
the
here.
many because like if there's like 5,000 people in Atlas, let's just say that, and there's 500 people in Mantle or whatever, because Mantle is slowly evacuating, right? So let's just say there's 10,000 people in Atlas and there's 5,000 people in Mantle. Would you not want to save the like if you had to choose? I think RWBY's point is you don't have to choose. We can save everyone, but maybe that's a naive idea. He's not a bad person.
Think it's
he's
as
just
naive.
making a bad decision because he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, but I think it's like from his perspective, if humanity will be saved, this is his mind, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't you do what you thought? Like, wouldn't you do it if you thought that humanity would be saved? You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
It's calculated losses.
Utilitarian is the term that we're
the
looking
most
for
good for the most amount of people.
Yeah,
is utilitarian.
and I think maybe that's what. Yeah. He's definitely scared, but nobody's done anything to
But
comfort.
we also don't know the population of Atlas to Mantle, because presumably poor populations are typically larger than rich populations, so it would make a certain amount of sense to have more people in Mantle.
I definitely
is my
think,
argument.
it's like, he's just paranoid and trying his best. Yeah, and I think that's like where we run into a
best
person.
is exactly what Salem wants, I think.
And that's the problem, right? I'm saying logically from Ironwood's perspective, does this not make sense? And I feel like that's part of what makes a villain a villain. It's like, Tyrion knows killing people is wrong, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Care.
He just doesn't care, whereas Ironwood doesn't realize his decision is a bad one, and he does care, right? And so I feel like that makes things a little more... I just hate... I hate this about the RWBY fandom in particular, that it's like, the character is black or the character is white. You know what I mean? In terms of, like, morality. It's like, oh, Blake is a terrible person, or, like, Blake has never done anything wrong in her life. And, like, neither of those things are true. Blake has done bad things, but is she, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm just saying, like, the struggle is, Willow has never done anything wrong, or Willow is just as abusive as Jacques. Like, there's just no, like, guys, gray area... Life is not like boxes.
We're talking about what's Willow doing right now. Also, this is hilarious.
What's Willow doing right
how
now?
Ironwood just grinds Watt's face against the
so
dirt.
he has like mad carpet burn.
Yeah.
I guess. So here's the thing. Could Watts just not, like... You know,
I feel like
I guess I should use the mouse, like, jump, like, try to maneuver himself on
There's a bit of an overbite that it feels like the base is a little, the bottom and ground is a little out from where the base is.
Right, and so, listen, okay, I said if Watts is gonna die, let him die on a high. Is this a high? Kind of?
But I think he's okay with it.
Yeah, like, if Watts died here,
he has a really good, potentially last line.
I mean, I hope that Ironwood does die. And I know that makes me bad, but it's like, I talked about this before. It's like, I hope that, like, either Ironwood will die, or Winter will live, or both of them will die, right? Because I think that's just what we gotta do. I think Ironwood just gots to die. I don't think that Winter deserves to die compared to Ironwood. You know what I mean? I don't think that Winter should be the only one who dies. You know, I think both of them should die. That's what I'm trying to say. And so, would I have liked him to die in this scene? Yes. But now we understand why we can't have him die in this scene.
I like it better. Them keeping him around for these reasons.
What if Watts, like, kills Ironwood right now? Like, you know what I'm saying? They had to keep Ironwood alive for what happens later in this episode, so it all makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, just because we're like, like, it would be cool if Ironwood died right now. Like, when you see the rest of the puzzle, and this is what I always try to explain to people, like, obviously we theorize, but it's like, you can't really, you don't see the full picture. It's like, oh, like, why are we keeping so-and-so around? And then so-and-so becomes useful. It's like, oh, like, why couldn't Ironwood just die here against Watts? And then you see the greater impact Ironwood has if his life continues to exist in the show. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It's
they
like,
kept him around for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. You should either kill the character or, like, have them continue to have a purpose to live. And I feel like Ironwood still has a purpose plot-wise to keep him alive. And that was the whole thing with, like, Watts versus Ironwood. We were sort of weighing, like, if Ironwood dies here, what are the like, what happens narratively because of his death? Basically what I was saying was, can his death be more beneficial than his life? And I think him being alive in this current, like, situation because of the scenes that follow, it's better, right? And so that's always the balance, like, oh, like, does Watts have more value dead or alive in terms of the plot of the show? Like, we think about that a lot, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, and so we see this, so this was fun. He still has his rings, though, right? Can't he just turn off the lava?
Arguably true.
Because he was using his rings to look at the technology, right?
Also,
he still has his other set, so can't he just use it to,
so he doesn't have any guns, apparently. So doesn't that mean that, like, in the Vital Festival, there was a possibility of, like, a young hunter and a huntress falling in.
The thing was on the ground, right? They lifted up the platform, right?
True.
And so,
but still, like, burning in lava would be a pretty hideous way to go. Then again,
I will sacrifice whatever it takes to stop her. And then Watts says, "Ooh, I hope you do, James." Right? And so that's the whole thing, is that he is doing exactly
what Salem
wants later.
Divide people.
Which is to sacrifice everything for the case of stopping her. Bad. Foreshadowing good. Situation bad. Stop it, James. Stop it, please. So yeah, we don't see him fall. So, okay, listen.
What happened?
When people were saying, like, Adam's still alive, he could have survived being stabbed twice and falling in a waterfall, right?
Hitting his head off the side of the cliff.
But when a character in RWBY has died, it has been on screen. Roman got eaten by Nevermore. Pyrrha got shot in the heart. Okay, Vernal was stabbed. Whatever happened to Vernal, I don't remember. Died slowly, right? So what I'm saying is,
Ozpin
died off screen, but he was reincarnated. So that's I would say is evidence to this.
We don't think
you guys
Watts
are saying Forrest. I think Forrest was pretty obvious he was dead. Like, you know what I mean? They said he was dead later in the show. So Watts is the only current character so far. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Watts is the only character that has
main character,
right? That is in a situation where Ironwood could drop him and kill him, but we didn't actually see that. Why?
Is because he's still around.
I think Watts is still alive.
Even with Cinder, you think about it, we saw her turn to ice and fall down a pit, and yet she still came back. So.
Exactly. And so, yeah.
Neo,
even Penny's fake death was on screen. Yeah, so...
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cardin Winchester, he's still alive, sis, unfortunately. But yeah, Cinder, like, fell down the pit, and she was okay. Watts was arrested? Oh. Ooh! Oh my god, guys.
That Watts and
I have
Jock
an
end
idea.
up in a
No.
cell together?
Tyrion's going to prison. What
Oh,
if
no.
Watts is arrested? And then Team RWBY gets arrested, and then they break out Watts and Tyrion, because
By
it's
accident?
like... No, not by accident. It's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I think still the
Right?
primary enemy is Salem. Like, I
Is
don't
it
think
safe
they
to
would
keep
work
him alive?
together.
I literally do not know. But they keep Tyrion alive. Why are they keeping Tyrion alive? Like, that's the stupidest thing that Crow Raven, and I get that he's a prisoner, and I get he has to pay for his crimes and whatever. Just fucking kill him.
But
So he can't
certainly
kill any
Tyrion
more
is
people.
gonna have another
He's gonna
fight.
escape, sis. Like, he's not, you know what I'm saying?
Also, like, you
So-
can't keep Watts anywhere. He'll, like, science and
We
MacGyver
had
some
a
shit.
theory.
Oh, did we?
Okay, we had a theory that, like, Watts would basically walk up to Weiss and be like, listen, girl, you want to get rid of your dad? I want to get rid of your dad. You know, like, let's just go ahead and get rid of him together. And obviously, like, no one knows who Watts is. No one knows that Watts is working with Salem, right? And so Weiss would be like, sure, shady man, let's go take down my father, right? So we had that theory before the volume even started, like, during the hiatus, right? So what if Watts
Yes.
is in the prison,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, the only way that you can defeat Ironwood is if you can get help from
a
me.
friend. From a
From me.
mustachioed...
Yeah.
From a mustachioed friend
And
who
so
also
Team
hates
RWBY is
Ironwood.
like, do you think you can trust him? And they're like, no. But what choice do we have? He's maybe the only one who could stop Ironwood from being a bad person. You know what I'm saying? So what if that's what happens? What if Team RWBY does get thrown in jail and we don't actually have a fight next episode? Team Juniper comes to break them out of jail, but you know who's also in jail? Watts.
Do you think it's going to be Juniper? Because I thought it was going to be Crow,
Oh
Robin,
yeah, that
and
also makes sense. Like whatever,
Clover.
you know, I
Mixture
feel
of
like
the
Clover, Robin, and
six. Clover, Robin, and Crow.
Clover, Robin, and Crow will
There
put Tyrion in a cell.
Or what
Right.
we
Watts
like to
will
call
be in
it
a
gay,
cell.
lesbian, bisexual solidarity.
Watts will be in a cell, Team RWBY will be in a cell, they'll walk in, and then Juniper will sort of come in behind them in a sense, and then Watts will be like, the only way you can stop James is if I help you.
I
I
don't
can help
think they're
protect
dumb enough
the people
to
of
work
Mantle.
with Watts.
But
I
what if
genuinely
that was
don't
the
think
thing?
they are.
Remember? Because it was the whole thing, right? And we've been talking about this forever, and the traitor theory is true, by the way, so suck my dick. But we'll talk about that later, okay? The whole thing was like, can you trust, like, you shouldn't trust who you think you can trust, but you should trust who you think you can't trust. And so Watts is the one that they can't trust, whereas James, whereas Ironwood is the one they thought they could trust, but they can't trust anymore. So what if it's possible that Watts says, I will save the day, but I want Ironwood dead. I don't know, like some sort of moral, like the next couple episodes are called the moral conundrums, are called moral, like, issues, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because it's an issue, like, do you sacrifice Ironwood's life and give Watts the bounty, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or do you try to stop Ironwood yourself? I feel like they would work with Watts under the condition, like under very specific conditions.
I genuinely don't think they're that stupid.
But
Because I understand where you're going with.
But he's the only one who can stop him. He's the greatest mind in all of Remnant.
Oh my
He's
god.
the only one. He is.
That's why he's dangerous.
I know, but what if they're like, what choice do we have?
I don't like it. I mean, it's
They
a
are that
possibility.
stupid. Exactly, because if he's like, all I wanted was revenge.
I don't think they'll trust
All I wanted
him.
was revenge on Ironwood.
I think they'll be like, okay, and like they'll know he's gonna pull some shit. I don't think they'll buy his
He
sob
can't
story.
hack without his rings. He still has rings on his
They're
arm.
probably gonna take his rings if they don't keep. You don't like, oh, right, here's prison, here's your free gun.
Pietro
like, no.
is the greatest mind. Well, clearly not. Like, what the fuck was Pietro doing during all this? Pietro
Making
did nothing.
Penny that saved a bunch of people.
No,
in
I mean
Mantle.
now. Like, what has he been doing?
I don't
Nothing.
know.
Pietro has been doing fuck all.
He's been playing Scrabble with I don't know, someone with his interns.
Yeah, so just walk
With
up
the
to
Grim
Tyrion.
Reaper.
Just keep him there. That's okay.
I
Let
already
go of
forgot her
Watts.
name.
Go help.
She's been in
Go
this.
help take down Ironwood and bada bing, bada boom. There you go.
What was the
so,
old lady?
I don't understand why
What
you
was
guys
the old
think
lady's name again?
Maria.
Maria. He's playing Scrabble with Maria. She's been in so few episodes. I've
I
forgotten
don't know
her
why
name.
you guys think that Watts is arrested, but I guess we'll find out.
Okay, I don't know, man. Because
Anyway,
I agree with you that his like.
Tyrion, you're under arrest.
I love how they tell him he's under arrest. Like, yeah, no, I'll follow.
This is cool. This fight.
The fight scene is so it's
Look at that
short, but it
long
is
boy.
fast.
He can't walk, Cal. Who can't walk? Watts, he's okay. Don't worry. It's fine.
I mean, he
Everything's
needed to get
fine.
the snot kicked out of him, so there's that. The fight, this doesn't do it justice, but it's fast and it's brutal.
I like how everything's just sort of flying in. Like,
Mhm.
Clover is sort of helping defend Crow, whereas Crow is the offense and Robin is the
Range.
range.
What
Thank
I
you.
really love about this is that you get Tyrion's personality and that he just feels like he's flailing around and
Yeah.
yet like his tail will just flick out and then block an attack
Yeah.
during these scenes, and I just
Is
it's
that, like,
mesmerizing to look.
Is that intentional? Or is that, like,
The flailing?
subconscious?
I think that
Is that like
he-
a biological instinct? Like, how does it work?
I don't know.
Like, because we don't have tails, right? And so
I guess he's
how do
able
they
to
feel?
control it.
How does it feel to have a tail?
I don't know how it feels to have a tail, pal.
You know?
I don't.
So I'm just but I'm saying like I wonder. I just wonder what it would feel like to have a tail, because it's like, would you consciously move it like you move your arms? Like how
Cal,
would it? How would
I
it
think
feel?
you're like 6 inches away from becoming a furry.
Anyway, stop it, guys. Cal's so high right now. I'm not. I'm just tired. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
Like your spine is really long, but you don't move your spine
you
like you
can.
move your hands.
But, like,
I mean,
you
you
can
move
bend
your
it.
spine, but you can't anyway.
So it's like the same thing. I
Give
don't know.
me a tail,
I can't
guys.
exactly ask my dog what it's like to have a tail.
Anyway,
So his eyes go
'cause
purple
that's
briefly.
poison mode.
I guess
Remember?
so.
We
Yeah,
did a whole video
we were
on
totally
this.
wrong about the whole like he's gonna knock Clover out thing. He really did just get his ass kicked pretty quickly, which makes sense because like he's-
Also, the OP was a lie. Like it was like
yeah. Well, it's so often a lie, like that Volume 4 Blake versus Adam
Pietro
thing.
can't walk. Okay. Well, that doesn't matter. He should still try to do something, sis. Like, technologically. Stop
He has
it.
those Robo Jordans.
But yeah, so that was funny. That
When he
sort of-
wraps him up, I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
The use of the fish wire
was
in
I
a
saying?
fight was very
The
interesting.
OP is funny, like in terms
Yes.
of like how it shows Robin and
It doesn't
Crow
want to give
fighting.
everything away.
Exactly, it's just not.
Because really, like, all the time, Robin was from a distance shooting.
He just punched him in the stomach. Like that's so
right where
like, hit
he
him
got
in the
stabbed.
dick, Crow. Like
That
yeah,
spot is where Tyrion
I know,
stabbed
it's
Crow,
a metaphor.
I guess.
Stuff, I guess. Yeah.
And then he sort of flicks out, and then he starts breakdancing when he's uncoiling himself, which I thought was pretty cool. And they also tried and failed to cuff him.
I love
He
this.
laughed, he bit it.
Because he looks so like...
He's so happy. And the whole time I kept on thinking, like, when he was grabbing them last episode, I'm like, they're gonna explode one
This
day,
is how
right?
you know that you fucked
And it
up.
explodes. So he took like a hand grenade straight to the teeth, and that's
Love
what does
that.
him in.
Love the new aura effect. I don't know who thought of that, the pixie dust, but like, thank you. I like it.
You
There
get
go.
glittered as you die.
Exactly, basically.
He's knocked the fuck out on the floor. He gets his teeth kicked in by Robin. I know some people that would pay money to get that to have happen to them.
So,
We all
yeah.
have different tastes, I
So-
suppose. He walks in, and at first we were like, okay, like Tyrion's in custody, that's good. That went by quicker. It was a really fun fight, but I thought it went by
And
fast.
so he sees the relic on the table, and he
The-
has the PTSD.
I guess the
basically.
the
relic.
relic, the chess
the
piece.
chess piece, that's what I meant.
We were looking at this
so-
trying to find if we could see like a
Where
Neo
the
in the
fu-
background.
Like, what are all you doing? You're supposed to be trained huntsmen. Hello? Like, where's
in
Team
the fall of
Funky?
Beacon,
Where
y'all
do y'all do
motherfuckers
it?
were
Like,
running
what?
around with swords out.
I'm just saying, these are a lot of students for all of them to not do anything. But here's also my argument.
Mhm.
It seems like Atlas's academy is just because it's joined with the military.
Yeah.
I would say it's not just for huntsmen. It's like, do you want to be a computer scientist? Atlas Academy.
Maybe.
Do you want to, swab the deck or something? Atlas Academy, right?
Swab the poop deck?
You know what I mean? Like, you want to engineer an airship? Atlas Academy. So I feel like the reason why Beacon didn't have this many is because Beacon was just huntsman, right? If you go to Atlas, you go to military and huntsman school. If you go to Beacon, it's just huntsman school, and they probably have their
also
own separate
probably because
military
they
school.
had the budget to have
I
large
know, but I'm
crowds.
saying this is the justification for why we didn't see this before. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And so Winter's just like, oh, fuck.
Are you sure, James?
And so I love this. Now show me where you've been hiding her, because it's a trap.
Yes.
It's all a trap, sis. I don't know. Yeah,
And so now he's recalling the whole gang. Like,
It's
Penny
just
gets
like
a call and it's
the
like,
squad, yeah.
I gotta go in. So she flies up to Atlas. They fly back
So
up to Atlas.
as soon as you don't have to understand orders, kids. You just have to follow them.
That's
Yikes. That's
telling.
when I was like, oh god. That's when I was like, Hunter, like this is gonna get
So
bad.
we guessed this very early on. I believe this
Yes.
was actually my guess too.
Sure.
Because early on, after like when Harriet was like, "Oh, listen, like there's friends and there's works, and we don't mistake the two." I thought that like one day there would be a scene where like they would, because I was still like on hard Ironwood as a dictator mode, which I've returned to now.
Team Funky are still at the club dance.
Who knows?
Go ahead.
That if push come to shove, they would side with Ironwood over Ruby.
Right.
And I was right.
Yeah.
Which feels good.
Because you just have to follow, like, as soon as somebody said that, I was like...
I'm like, that's
probably
not
bad,
good.
right?
Which is a shame, because I love them, but they're such
so
little
in the OP, and this is
soldiers.
something that I noticed, like, we were looking at the shadows, right? And we were like, well, that one kind of looks like Harriet, because it had the points. But now somebody sent this to us on Twitter,
OP?
and you can see, like, in the opening, in the song, you can see when Team Ruby is all, like, standing on the things, and, like, Ruby has her scythe, you can see Hare's ears. But then somebody on Twitter circled, like, where you can see, like, Vine's head or something, and then Marrow's tail, and Hare's ears, because we were just like, oh, well, that's weird. It's Hare's, like, those are kind of pointy, I guess, like Hare's ears, but we couldn't tell anything else. But basically, TLDR, in the OP, it was basically hinted that all of the Aesops were gonna betray Team Ruby, and there would be that fight, and they were just shrouded in shadow, right? And so, I mean, I think that's why a lot of people thought of the traitor theory as well, because they saw that in the OP. So it wasn't like it was a secret.
There was
we just
also
didn't know it
the
was gonna
Watts. I
happen
think
this
why
way.
we started it is because the picture of the
There was
Aesops
also
was
that.
in the Watts
Yeah.
screen.
I mean, doesn't that also make sense now?
I mean, they don't seem to be related to Watts.
No. Not that they're related to Watts, but it's like they'll defend
Ironwood. Yeah, that they planted those seeds very early on, and it's nice to see them go into fruition. That like, oh yeah, these are the type of people.
So
However,
you guys have to see how fucking grayscale this turns, and I feel like this is definitely intentional. Like, you guys know I complain about Ruby being desaturated, but this is purposeful desaturation. It's supposed to look gray and sad and stuff like that, right? And so Ironwood is fucking
sad,
disturbed.
First, he was so not talkative. For a second, I thought he was Neo. In the reaction, like, I think I yell like, Neo! It's worse than Neo.
Yeah. And
He's
so
become a fascist.
we stopped Watts. We stopped Kalos. So we killed Watts. We stopped Kalos. We stopped Watts. Stopped Kalos. Tyrion's arrested.
Yes.
I'm saying that the usage of stop sort of implies that Watts has been sort of arrested and that he is still alive and not dead. Right? Because, again, we stopped Watts. We stopped Tyrion. How did we stop Tyrion? We arrested him. Why did he not just say, I killed Watts? Watts is dead. We stopped Kalos. I don't think Watts is dead. I think that Watts is actually in jail and they're gonna break him out later. You know what I'm saying?
But then stopped could be like a dubious.
But don't you guys understand what I mean? Words are important. We stopped Watts. We didn't kill Watts. We didn't murder Watts. Watts didn't fall off a cliff and die.
But it could be interpreted in two different ways.
I know, but I'm saying that they use stop both times.
Yes.
We stopped Watts, we stopped Tyrion. So I feel like to differentiate it, you would say we killed Watts, we stopped Tyrion.
Okay.
Details are important. Yes. So that's what I'm thinking. I think that Watts is not dead. I think that he's still alive and he's just sort of arrested and all of that stuff. I think that that's important. But someone was here. So yeah, this is
the thing. I think
he's like
I've talked about
what do you
this
call
previous.
this? Like not unraveling. He's
Unrest.
no. It's like the thing when you like. Not intrusive thoughts, catastrophizing.
Spiraling?
He's spiraling. Yeah, he's
There you go.
spiraling. Yeah.
What if
I mean,
he's
this
paranoid?
is a catastrophe, but he's spiraling
Yes.
down, down, down.
To the bottom of the sea. Right.
Yeah, and so
How do we know that
I feel
wasn't part
like
of
we
their
don't
plan?
need to talk about this. This is pretty.
I feel like the part of our plan thing is that I've talked about that. Like, that's, I think, a major character flaw of Ironwood is that he puts too much, like, he believes in his military power too much.
Yeah.
And so that when it inevitably fucks up, he's shaken to his very core. And we saw that in Volumes 3 and Volume 4, and I think we're seeing it again here.
Dents this fucking table.
Yes.
This table has a bowl shape in it now.
Mhm.
So there's that.
Had been one step ahead of us the entire time. So yeah, I think that's kind of
I like
Ironwood's
how Ruby is like, it's glass. And everyone's just like
yes,
what?
it is.
Black
a-
glass? Which is weird that, like, I don't know. This line was weird to me. Just
How
like
so?
this, I don't know, like this, like, it's glass. Black glass. Cinder is here. You know what I mean? Like, I get that they don't know and they had to get away for a character to explain it, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Like, it's weird that, like, Ruby is like, black glass. Cinder. Even though when I think of Cinder, I think of murdering Pyrrha. Cinder. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember how much she used her glass attacks in her confrontation with Ruby exactly. But I feel like she would also remember just in, like, I don't know. It's fine. The line's fine. I just found it a little, like, you know, little strange. It was slow. I think that's it. It's glass. Looks around. Black glass? Like Cinder.
I don't think it was that bad.
Well, you know, because there's a cut here, right? And so it's glass, and then everyone has to look at each other. Right? And they're all like...
It felt natural, because they're like, yeah, it's glass, what about it? Like, they're being keyed in.
I don't think it felt that natural with them all like, look, it's glass. Black
I didn't
glass.
think it was that.
That's how I feel. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, their confrontation obviously involved the glass, so I'm not saying that Ruby shouldn't know. I'm just saying it's, I don't know, it's just funny. So Yang is like, what the fuck? Like, I saw her fall in a hole. You know what I'm saying? Like,
there's some interesting act that she's like shocked and angry and appalled about this.
So
that
Yang
she's
did
around.
not see Cinder fall in a hole, but she came down to talk to Raven, and
assumed
Raven
that
was
Cinder
like,
was dead.
Cinder's dead, I guess. Right? And so that's sort of interesting that this sort of reveals that, I don't know. It's hard to explain because nobody knows that Yang had that talk with Raven in Volume 4. Right. Volume 4. Volume 6.
Volume
5. Oh my god.
You're high.
Nobody knew. I'm not. Okay, nobody knew that she had that talk with Raven. She said, I got there and everyone, Vernal was dead. Cinder was gone. Mom was gone, you know?
So I guess she just assumed.
And so,
that there was a death.
no, but that's what she said to everyone.
Okay.
When she got down to Raven, Raven was like, yeah, I killed that hoe. She didn't say that, right? But that's why I think Yang is so, like, upsetty here, because she was like, my mom told me Cinder was dead, as opposed to everyone else who was like, well, we didn't really know what happened to her. We just knew that she wasn't around.
We just hoped that she wasn't around
We just
anymore.
hoped that she was dead, right? So I think that was sort of the idea with that. So yeah. So I think that's why Yang is the most upset in this scene, and I really like the lines from her. You know? So we keep going. Hazel's here too, and I'm like, he's not, sis. At least imagine Emerald, Hazel, and Mercury are just
like,
strolling
we know
in
that,
at the
but
very.
we can see
I know that they.
It works for
but
his character.
Imagine he's like, is Hazel here? And Hazel's just at home, like he's just like, these kids, you know what I mean? And they're, you know,
playing
flying
Scrabble
monkeys
with
and
Emerald
stuff like
and
that.
Mercury
Exactly.
and drinking a
I
Shirley
just
Temple.
think that that's so funny that he's like, Hazel must be here too, or whatever. Hazel could be.
There's
here,
the
right?
there's the person who can cloak themselves. She's this
We
lamp.
now have
Speaks to me, lamp.
200 people in the stream, by the way. Thank you guys. But yeah, so that's what I was sort of also thinking. I was just like, Hazel's not here, sis. Don't worry. Imagine next episode is like the three of them, and then they just all see Cinder working with Neo and sharing a high five, and Emerald's just like,
Best friends
fuck
forever.
you, bitch. Like,
It's Hazel Emerald, Mercury, Neo, and Cinder all together for a big selfie. But I think that really works, that you can see he's spiraling. He's like, oh my god, everything's here. It's a full-on invasion. Salem herself is here, which in all fairness,
how
she does
Blake
show up, but...
tries to... And he doesn't.
Are you with
Oh,
me?
but yeah, you guys are right. So Ironwood's black gun has mysteriously disappeared, but I think he does put something on the table, and we'll get to that in a minute.
But I also like that how Blake reacts to his, like, are you with me or against me? That, like, Blake is aware when people go bad. She's seen that in Adam.
So
She's seen that in the White
so
Fang.
this was the thing, right? Is that, like, Blake has heard the whole, like, are you really with me, though?
Yeah.
Are you really loyal to me? Because if you were loyal to me, you would do this. Like, she's heard that all before, right? And so I feel like this
you would let me kill
important.
Potentially millions of civilians.
Yeah. You know, and I feel like it's very, like, she sees Adam going that way, if that makes sense. In a sense.
And they keep on keeping that bag in frame, and you're like, something's in that bag. Something's in that bag.
And that's
You're
something
right.
that I predicted as well, right? And so there was that. We told her, and then Yang's just like...
He's angry.
We
You
did
did
that.
what? And it's thumping, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a bomb, or there's a Grim, or there's something.
Look at Weiss and Ruby.
By
are just
going
like,
behind our
We
backs.
didn't know they were doing that.
I feel like this is a really great reaction image in the making.
Why didn't she do her shadow clones and run off with everyone? Well, I feel like she was trying to give Ironwood the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to be like, why didn't they just run away right now? But, like, no, they were trying to reason with him to the last moment possible. And are they really gonna stay arrested? Obviously not.
Are
right?
they even going to be arrested?
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, this show's called RWBY, alright? We can't have them arrested for the last 2 episodes. So, I really
Robin is
like
on our
this.
side.
Because
Oh.
it's like Blake is in the middle.
Yeah, her ears folded down. It's the idea that, like, the Aesops and Ironwood do not see a need for unity where Team RWBY do.
Yeah.
And that's always been a main theme of
the
RWBY.
Aesops, yeah.
Or of
I guess.
Team RWBY in
Yeah,
general. The idea of, like, we need to work together because we all face this existential threat.
Ironwood even says, like, loyalty always matters, but, like, I don't know. I feel like Blake's heard all that before.
Yeah.
Like, that loyalty is the only thing that matters.
Hello,
and
new
she's
Adam.
seen bad people. No, okay, let's not. Ironwood is not that bad.
He's
That
a better
is
villain
slander.
than Adam.
Anyway, so...
Oh, it pops out of
Gun.
the bag.
Yeah.
There's
so
a
I was
secret
like...
Grim.
So we talked about this in the last analysis. Do you guys remember? Okay, somebody tell me if they remember. But I was like, what if Watts just has a seer Grim in his bag this whole time?
Didn't
and
you
he's
say
just gonna
that was
pull
an
it out
Arnold
and be
thing?
like, hello, dear friends.
Wait,
like,
yeah,
let's go
yeah,
strangle
yeah.
Ironwood. You know what I mean? That when Watts is in a hard spot, the Grim will come out and sort of surprise Ironwood from behind. Does anyone remember me saying that?
I feel like we had...
Someone in the chat says they remember, so it
feel like-
must be true.
But you
Anyway.
also talked about people in, like, Arnold's server talking about
I think
this.
they were talking about, I don't know.
Earlier in the recording we did
I
before
don't
we
know
did
what
the
they were
reaction.
talking about anymore. It's been like a week. But yeah, I was like, imagine the Grim just pops out and it's like, like, hello, sir. That's basically what I thought. But yeah, the negative emotions made the Grim, like, wake
Pop
up,
up.
basically. Which is sort of interesting.
Everyone's very surprised. It's probably the first time they ever saw a
I
super
like
Grim.
this because it's like the moon.
General
Like the
Ironwood,
moon
yes.
when it used to be whole, but
Yeah.
it's not, and it's obviously not the moon because
It's obviously
it's
not,
not the
'cause
moon.
That's
It's
a
the
hell of a
sky.
sentence.
Yeah,
Cal.
it's the
We
light.
should do more recording when you're sleep deprived.
Anyway, so this
Crackling.
thing just curled up
This
and
is
died.
it like shrivels up like a spider that's like rotting away its old skin, and it's frightening. And
Yeah.
then it's like gas. And at first, I legit thought Salem was going to.
So Salem has new clothes, eh? She
Yes.
has like Grim bones on the back of
Yes.
her top. Like
Also,
she
can
has
I be-
dinosaur bones?
Can I be honest with you, Cal?
Do you want to be kink shamed today?
It's not a kink shame.
No,
it's
no, no,
something
no, no.
about
You're
the
kinky
voice.
for Salem.
No, it's not that.
Salem is your kink.
I'm just
I get
in
it.
an abstract format. It's her voice that does it to me. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, she has a nice
listen,
voice.
listen, listen.
Her voice is great.
Smooth,
I love her voice.
Smooth, condescending evil is a bit of a turn on for me,
Oh
and
my
one day,
God.
Cal, one day that will lead to my death.
Okay.
That particular feeling of
Salem
mine.
was very seductive in this scene. Yeah, that's weird.
I
Look
don't know
at
if it's
everyone's face.
seductive.
Like Blake is like, what the
The
fuck
fuck?
is that? Because like she never saw Salem before. She's not really used to that.
They've
she
seen
saw
Salem,
once in Emerald's hallucination.
and also in Jin's
But I
thing.
feel like Yeah.
She's seen
But you
Salem and
understand
Jin.
what I mean? I mean, like,
Ah,
the
I'm
other
pumping
three have
everything.
had more Salem experience compared to Blake, because Blake was gone for all of Volume 5. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
she was in the room for
No,
when
I
Emerald
know
showed up.
that. I'm saying, like, all the stuff that happened before. You understand what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Well, like,
I'm
in
just saying
seeing
that I
Salem.
feel like everyone's face, it reflects how much time they've had to process this information.
I don't know, man. They
Does
all
that
look
make sense?
terrified.
Like, Ruby looks concerned, but she isn't, like, her eyes aren't wide open. Weiss is just like,
I mean, this could
Right?
also just be the
But
screenshot
Yang and Blake
we
also
took.
both look like
There's
really
bias
afraid,
in these
right?
screenshots.
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. What I was trying to say in terms of their facial expression was why each one of them is more or less scared. Like, Yang heard about the Salem stuff from her mom, and now she clearly, I think, believes
That's
that stuff
true.
that she heard.
So did Weiss.
Weiss heard it, but I feel like Weiss is almost flipped where they were like, can we trust your mom? Well, your mom turned into a bird. Like, I don't know. I feel like that it's more like Yang is more like her mother, if that makes sense now, and she's like, yeah, everyone's a shady fucking bitch. Like, this is a big yikes from me. Yeah, but they all saw the vision. But that was Blake's first experience with Salem. Like, she didn't even know what Salem was until she saw Emerald's vision. Now this is the second time of her seeing Salem outside of the Jin picture show, which was safe, right? Nobody was gonna hurt her during that. Meanwhile, with this, she's like, fuck. Like, this is what it looks like. Like, this is our situation right now. Whereas I feel Ruby has had a lot more time to process it because she was with Juniper and she heard the stories and other various things. So, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
So that's what I'm sort of, because look at, like, Blake and Yang look like, compared to, like, Weiss almost looks disgusted, whereas
She
Ruby looks,
sad.
like,
I don't
look
know.
at Ruby's eyebrows,
Ruby's
like, Ruby is
determined.
angry, and
Ruby's
everyone
the
else
most
is fucking...
determined out of them.
Yeah,
'Cause
look
she
at her,
steps
she's
up.
like, come at me, bitch, alright?
And we'll
look
stop
at
you.
everyone else, they're just like, what are you doing?
Don't sass talk to the demon, but this is... You called this right before it was about to happen. You were like, oh, Salem's gonna be like, that's what your mom said, and then it happens. Dear girl, that's... The goal was never...
No, it wasn't here.
It
was somewhere
someplace
else.
yes. It's merely to set the stage.
That's fucked, man. Like, Ironwood was just a pawn.
To divide...
Not Ironwood.
Watts.
Watts was just a pawn. Like,
to
Watts
divide
didn't
people.
even fucking
And
matter.
it absolutely
like,
fell
Salem
for it.
has... Like, it was the whole, like, when you learn the value of human life. How can she? She's lived so long like Ozpin that human lives seem expendable.
I mean, she actively
They're
tries
just
to
like
kill
ants, you know what I mean? Because we
millions
talked
of
about
them,
this with Ozpin before. Like, he's lived so long, he's seen people, like, reproduce. Like, when you think about it, it's just like humans are just sort of like...
ants. Like dogs. We can get another
Yeah,
one.
like dogs. Like, you can just get another dog. Like, that's what I was thinking. Were people surprised that she uses people, though? No, but I don't know. It's just fucked. Like, Watts was just, like, so cool. And Salem
But it's
doesn't
almost
think
like...
so.
It's almost because... It's almost like Watts knew it and was
Yeah.
okay with it. Which is very interesting, because I thought he would be too egotistical.
Maybe it's because it's
to...
like, hey, you'll be re-resurrected in my new world.
I don't know.
Worry,
Maybe
you'll be
he
fine.
just hates
Right, because,
things so much that
she
all
sort of
he
talks
has
about-
left is...
Not Salem talks about this now, but it's like, Salem wants to be the Dark Queen and rule over the world, and she has immortality, and she wants to be the god, and if she's the god, she can resurrect whoever she wants. And so, I feel like Salem wants to become god, and the reason why no one is afraid of death, the reason why Hazel is working with Salem is because Salem has promised two things: to bring back his sister when she has the power of God, like, through resurrection, and to also kill Ozpin. So, like, one. And then with Watts, it's sort of the same thing. Like, you'll be brought back in my new world, and you'll be the technological mastermind you always wanted to be, right? So I feel like that, you know, Salem is trying to attain the power of God, basically. And so no one's concerned about their death because they think that Salem will just bring them back.
Maybe that could
be
certainly
it.
be something.
Right?
I find it interesting that Watts is totally willing to die, and he understands what his death is for, is just to divide
For
them.
what? For me. Yeah.
Time isn't on your side, James, and like the monkeys are coming.
It's
man.
always been on mine. That's what I'm saying. She's always been alive. What did she promise Tyrion? Tyrion just likes her, sis. Like, that's enough.
And she's like, you've murdered more people than
Tyrion is
anyone.
willing to die for her, whereas Watts is willing to die for the promise. I think that's... Yeah, just being near
willing
Salem
to
is
die
enough.
for the opportunity, I think.
I think so, yeah. The people of Atlas had suffered enough. Surrender the staff. Everything will be fine. You know, it's all okay. Right? Like, I thought that this was gonna convince him for a second, and it kind of, like...
That's not going to
It
happen.
kind of turns him in the other direction, but at the same time, I'm like...
Simply accept the futility of yours. Because
Look at her smile there. She's like, don't you just want the people of Atlas to be happy? Like, that's how she's acting, right? Salem makes a very convincing argument. She does, because it's like, just hand over the staff
people
and
don't
the
have to
relic.
die.
People
But
don't
he
have to
knows
die.
that the world will fucking end if she gets all the relics, so it's like, why would you? I think she just wants him to lose hope and act erratically. As I think that's his goal, and divide people, and then they're easier
When
to...
she loses that fucking smile when it's like the lamp showed us. Look at the look on her face. She does
It's
not
interesting because
want
she's
to
not
remember
afraid
the
of
past.
Ironwood, but she's afraid of Ruby.
She's afraid of the past. I don't think she's afraid of Ruby.
But,
She
like-
fucking drags Ruby. I think that this is more irritation.
But
right?
she's irritated by Ruby.
I think she's
That's something
I think that she is
affected by Ruby.
Khaled Hunter have switched chairs. Blasphemy. No,
Yeah, it's
we
very
just
odd.
switched spots because my phone that's reading the chat is on this side connected to a plug. I was wondering when someone would say that. Yeah, we swapped just for today. All right, don't get used to it. I'll be back over there. It's just because of the.
Or maybe she's more disgusted with Ruby.
It seems like, look
Because-
at this. She's like so fucking pissed. Her eyes squint, like she's just irritated. She's just like, what did you say to me, you fucking little shit, okay? Like, she's not happy. And I feel like she's not happy knowing that, like, for her to be seen as someone with feelings. She doesn't want, like, everyone to know that she had the hots for Ozpin, okay?
That's true.
I feel like that's sort of what it is.
Or the fact that
She's
they
taught-
know stuff about
yeah.
her past and she wants to stay, like, an enigma. That could definitely be something.
Why is this insect talking? Yeah, I feel like
Probably
that's
something
it, but
like
it's also like, I don't know, it's just like,
But
fuck.
it's a challenge.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
It's
I
just
think
the expression sort of reads like she's so annoyed. Like, she's so fucking annoyed that they know about Ozpin and they know about all of that
they know
stuff.
about my...
They know that she
questionable
was
dating
once
past.
human. Like, they know,
Mhm.
right? Like, you can see how mad, like, the look on her face.
That showed us everything. They're defiant looking.
And you
now,
can
which
see,
is-
like, her eyes aren't even in her
They're
fucking
just
head
black.
as she's turning around,
We've
right?
seen that you can't, but we've also seen you fail.
Because she
We
just
don't
has
have to
this,
kill
like,
you to stop you. And this is the line where you looked at me and said that. Then Salem's gonna say, "That's what your mother said."
yeah. And then,
And lo and behold, she goes triumphant. And it's like ominous music. Your mother said those words to me. It's. I ran. It blew me.
I could write for this show, guys.
The fact Salem's
Call
so
me
as a
sis.
character, Salem is so good at cutting down hope. You
Yeah.
can really see that inner character. That is her theme. That is her modus operandi. That is how she operates. She just wants to cut people's hope because she views hope as innately challenging to a fight against someone.
So,
This is interesting
This
as well,
isn't
and
nice.
I picked up as well because in Volume 6 when we see her, it's sunny and the
Love
grass is green.
everything's great.
But in this one, the sky is gray, the grass is kind of yellowing. It's accompanied by this horrible screeching sound. This is potentially one of my favorite parts of this season, this moment, this confrontation between Ruby and Salem.
So you see,
This,
Summer
her
sort
learning,
of closed her
finally
eyes.
learning what happened to her mother.
she was wrong.
Too.
Fuck, she was wrong.
When's the last time we've seen Ruby cry?
I don't know.
And she's
It's been a
growing more
minute.
distant away from her mother.
And
It's
so you can see that her eyes are sort of misfiring,
yes.
almost sparking, right?
she's like dizzied.
Don't cry in front of the enemy.
We missed when her eyes actually blasted.
Yeah,
like,
they
flickered
did
silver.
blast, and
They
they,
did
like
flicker
blast
silver.
silver for a minute.
Which
it's
caused
a really
her to get,
powerful
like,
moment, yeah.
It honestly, I was speechless.
You can see
during
Summer.
that.
So here's the thing:
Mhm.
is Summer dead?
Probably. I don't know, because you had the idea that she's in stasis somewhere. With
Yeah, I
Salem's
think
group.
that she's just been kidnapped for a
Mhm.
long time. You know what I mean? Like, she's just still there. Does that make sense? Because I don't.
We still don't
Salem
even know what her
doesn't
weapon
say
is.
that her mom's dead, right? Salem says, your mom said that to me once, and she was wrong. So, like, did they kill her?
That's the
Nobody,
implication.
no death, question mark.
Well, she
I
thought
don't think
that she
she's
could
dead.
stop
I
her.
think Salem has her. So here's the thing.
But
okay?
is that going to be the post-credit scene? We see Summer like frozen in a like cryostasis tube.
Yes.
I don't
had
know.
a whole thing, okay? So here was my thing. In the time of Maria, they cut Silver-Eyed Warrior's eyes.
Mhm.
In the time of Ruby, they want Ruby to be captured alive. So what happened between Maria and Ruby for Salem to decide that Silver-Eyed Warriors were worth capturing?
Did they want to kill? Because they ended up cutting Maria's eyes, but I feel like Talk might have also wanted to kill her. I can't remember exactly, or like capture her.
Well, they were like, well, maybe if you do something for me, I'll let you go. Right, but like the most important thing was cutting the eyes
Yes.
out, is what I'm saying. And so I feel like that, yeah, like the end goal was like, oh, if you ask nicely, maybe I'll spare your life. It's
Mhm.
not like you're a threat to me anymore anyway, right?
Mhm.
Or whatever, right? Or a threat to Salem or whatever. But I'm just saying that like before, it was more about killing Silver-Eyed Warriors and cutting their eyes out. Now it's about capturing Silver-Eyed Warriors. So why? And I feel like the why is Summer. Summer is the why. That Salem, upon capturing Summer, figured out that Silver Eyes were actually useful for something, and that's why she also wants to kidnap Ruby. And she wants to kidnap Ruby to sort of almost taunt her using, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Salem could try to harness the Silver Eyes for herself because she may know how it affects her.
I mean, it would make sense that.
What are the chances of Salem leaving Summer alive?
I don't know. I mean, I get where you're coming from, and I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but part of me feels like Summer Rose being like this famously deceased person.
Yeah. At the
I don't
same
know.
time, I'm like, there's no body in that grave. She just never came back.
That's
They
true.
never said that she was dead, right?
That's true.
They just said that she never came home one day.
That's
So
true.
here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that in between Maria and in between the age of killing Silver-Eyed Warriors and making sure their eyes were cut out and capturing Ruby, why does she want Ruby captured? What was the key there? What changed? Like, you know what I mean? And so I feel like something that's possible is that,
She wants
in
to
between,
experiment on them?
right, Summer was captured and they figured something out with her using Watts especially, right?
Mhm.
Like Watts could have experimented on that. You can hear a woman scream when Ruby flashes her eyes. Well, that's the experimentation scream.
I don't know if that's a scream so much as it's just a blaring noise. Like,
But
it didn't
yeah.
feel human to me necessarily. I mean, it could. I'm not saying it couldn't, but it's
And-
definite like a possibility for a post-credit scene. I also feel like Yang, you also see some emotion with her in this scene because like Summer's her mother as
She
well.
probably wanted Ruby captured so Cinder could kill her, but no, because she was like, "Hey, Cinder, don't kill Ruby. We want Ruby alive."
Did she say that?
I mean, kind of. That was the whole thing. Like, that's why, like, Cinder's like, "Hey, Neo, Salem wants Ruby alive. I want Ruby dead. She didn't say that you couldn't kill Ruby." Like, what the fuck was the point
I
of
guess
Neo and
so.
Cinder working
Maybe.
together?
Yeah.
Right? Like, the whole thing, the reason why Cinder and Neo were working together is because Cinder was told not to kill Ruby.
I'm not
So if
saying-
it was just about, we're gonna
Mhm.
capture Ruby so Cinder can kill her, like, no, if Cinder was outside, she could kill her, right? So yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, Ruby is being
It's a definite
out for
possibility.
capture, right? We just don't know why she wants to be captured, and we don't know, like, what happened to Summer exactly,
Mhm.
is what I'm trying.
It's a definite possibility that she's in some like grim cryostasis somewhere.
Yeah, I
And
don't
that
think that
She
Summer
realized
is
that she
working
can
with
farm
Salem.
because when you think about it, if the Silver Eyes are related to Ozpin, that could be magic
Well,
power.
related to the gods,
Yeah,
right?
and that's
It was
like the gods'
whole,
powers.
The whole thing, right? And
so
so what
she
it,
could want to harvest that energy
yeah, you
to
want
some
to
capacity.
harvest the god's light power. Good for you. You know, that's what
So
I'm
it
saying.
makes sense that she
She
would
told
want a
Tyrion to
collection.
bring Ruby to her. Yeah, exactly. And that's
Okay.
like the whole thing. Like, just capture her. We'll use her later. You know?
Mhm.
Want to experiment on Silver Eyes to see like its effects and all that stuff. Yeah, and so I feel like Watts could have totally been
Silver-eyed.
doing that.
Resilient Grim, maybe?
Salem even calls Silver Eyes a gift in Volume 5, Chapter 2. I don't remember that. Okay.
There's that
But
scene
yeah,
where she's
right,
talking
the
to
Silver
Cinder,
Eyes
so-
are like based on the gods and stuff, right? Like
Mhm.
that's what Maria said. So I feel like Summer has been kidnapped and they're just harvesting her. That's awkward. I mean,
It's a real possibility.
she's just being tortured constantly. That's a big yikes for me. So I feel like again that's
Boy.
there's a key between Maria who they left to die and Ruby who
Mhm.
they want alive, and that key could be Summer. That is basically
Mhm.
what I'm saying. Because Maria, they were just like, just kill her.
Yeah,
Right?
fuck
And
'em,
that
Talk.
key could have been Watts, because Watts wasn't alive when Maria was.
Arguably.
But what if Watts was like, hey yo, like,
Do you think
I
maybe
found the
that's what
thing.
Watts told Ironwood to keep him alive, or is that too much of a stretch? I mean,
That's a
anything's
spicy
possible.
one. I think that's interesting.
Anyways, I like that moment of
I like how
Yang
everyone
and-
was like, Yang and Ruby don't interact anymore. They don't have any more sister moments, right? Like, Yang
I
spends
think
all her
this
time with Blake, and then this is the sister moment. You got it. Y'all wanted a sister moment? Here's your fucking sister
I think
moment.
it's a really good moment.
Congratulations.
Even if it's short, it's like they're both in pain
No,
because Summer
I'm
was
saying, I
both their
understand.
mothers,
I'm
yeah.
saying it's funny because, like,
Mhm.
people wanted a sister moment so badly, and the sister moment that you have is Ruby crying her eyes out
over
and
her
Yang
dead
trying
mother.
to comfort her. So,
But also, like, that kind of, like, you can assume how Summer died, like, in vain against Salem.
yeah, if she died, I don't
And
think
then,
she's dead.
then that's
At
the
this
mic
point,
drop
I don't
that
think
Salem
she's dead.
has, and she just disappears. So, really like that new Salem design. Looks like everyone got new
Even
design.
even Yang is like distressed too. I mean,
Well,
'cause,
yeah, shit, that's her mother, yeah.
I know, but like, look, there's a difference between crying and the face that Yang is making, and I feel like that's really interesting. That's what I'm trying
She
to
just
say.
looks in pain.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really odd tops. This is potentially like up there in my favorite scenes in RWBY, which also really puts a damper in that scene in Volume 6, and I think they bookend each other so well.
What if Summer's just in vacuo? Like, somebody in the chat saying, like, she could have just, like, said,
Drinking
fuck
pina
this shit,
coladas.
and, like, she just left.
I left. But they've said...
Marrow's like,
So that's who we're up against? But no, they've talked about... I'm pretty sure Miles and Carrie have been like, she's dead.
I don't think so.
I think they have.
We have heard Miles and Carrie say, Crow is not Ruby's father.
I
We
think
have
they've
heard
also
Miles
said...
and Carrie confirm and
Summer's
deconfirm
dead.
other theories. If someone can find me where they say, shut the fuck up, Summer is dead, like they've said, shut the fuck up, Crow isn't Ruby's father, I would like to see it. Because I don't think that they have done that to the next extent. They have always said, yes, Summer is in the gravestone. It was Jeff Williams' idea to put Salem on the gravestone. But they talk about the gravestone, right? Like, Monty was like, who do we put in this grave? And, like, Jeff is like, hey, what if it's her mom? You know? And so it's like, who's on the grave, not who's in the ground. And there is no body. There's no body in the ground. She never came back, right?
That's
so...
true.
Anyway,
I also feel like
if
this
someone
could...
can find me a hard source on LOL guys, go fuck yourself, she's dead, like they have done with the Crow is Ruby's father theory, I will concede. I do not think that they have
I'm
done that
part of me
ever.
thinks they do, but I could be misremembering this. I also feel like this is building up an excellent moment to where Salem and Ruby talk to one another.
Yeah,
And
in the
they-
future, like far
in the
future.
future, a couple volumes from now.
What I will say too about the Summer thing, it's like, listen, guys, shit changes, okay? Like, it's okay. You know what I mean? And as a creators shouldn't confirm things if they may change it later,
Yeah.
but they are allowed to change things.
Yes.
Even if in the original blueprint they wanted Summer to stay dead, when you're writing 6 volumes in, like, I don't know, I feel like after a while, maybe you change stuff. You know what I mean?
Also, like
we
it's
talked
not
about
against
this.
the writer's rule to lie to your audience. Like,
Yeah.
that's perfectly acceptable.
Miles and Carrie
I
don't
think.
usually do that, though, so I don't know. Yeah. But basically what I'm saying is, like, people don't sort of realize that, like, we were talking about this with Neo in the case of her being gender fluid. Somebody basically commented and they were like, oh, well, do you think Miles, like, Monty and Carrie really sat around and planned for her to be gender fluid from the beginning? And
Like,
I was
no.
like, probably not, because
we
Neo was
talked about that in
a
the video.
random gender bent, like, a random
Ice cream.
addition ice cream girl that,
That-
Monty just threw in without telling anyone.
Because they thought they could get Sarah Silverman to play a voice, which
Yeah.
is still hilarious to me.
And so
But-
the whole thing is like, hey, just because your first idea isn't like 100% perfect doesn't mean that you can't go back and change. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Just
Like,
because
people
you
are
didn't
like-
plan it like that from the beginning doesn't
Yeah.
mean it's still not a. It doesn't mean it's a bad idea.
Exactly, right? And so just because they, like, Neo was a one-off sort of character, they didn't plan to do anything with
They
her.
also didn't plan her to be mute for all this time, too.
Yeah, and so, like, that's the whole thing. The best things about Neo are the unplanned parts,
Yeah.
right? They wanted to give her a voice and all that stuff. And so that's sort of what I'm saying is it's like, it's always funny when RWBY fans are like, oh, but is this what Monty would have wanted? Well, Monty wanted her to have a fucking comedy voice actor, right? And, like, you know, Neo's probably better off not talking, so... It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, shit changes. Even if they were adamant on keeping her dead, maybe there was something else that convinced her she was better off alive. You know? That's all I'm trying to say. So yeah, there's that. Is Marrow gonna betray the Aesops? Yes, definitely.
Because
the look on his face, he's like, nah, bitch. He is definitely gonna be
there's
Team
another
RWBY,
look
go,
later.
I'll hold them off. And it's like, what if
What?
Marrow's gonna stay everyone except for Team RWBY? Yes?
What?
He's gonna stay. He's gonna
Be
go
a permanent
stay,
member?
and then he's gonna be like,
Oh.
hey kids, run!
Oh.
Right? I think that, okay, so everyone's in the room except for Ironwood.
Yes.
Okay? He's gonna be like, you know, and then he's gonna be like,
Vine,
stay!
Harriet, and Elm are gonna charge RWBY. They fight, and then he
Yeah.
stays them. RWBY runs away.
And then he's like, RWBY, like, run! I'll hold them off as long as I can.
Because I
And
feel
it's
like that would have
what
been...
about you? Why would you do that? And it's because I believe in you.
They also set him up like that earlier
Yeah.
on because everyone else is very like, it's a job, we're very amoral about it, but with him, he wags his tail because he likes people.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that feels
So
connected to Team
obviously
RWBY.
Clover, I think, is also going to
Yes. I
save
will hope
them,
so.
right? Like, I think Clover is also going to be like, well, that sounds sketchy.
It
as
can go
fuck.
either way.
Time to go, right?
I think it might be able to go
I
either
think
way.
Marrow
with
and
that.
Clover will change sides. I definitely agree. I think that
Mhm.
they're both going to change sides.
Mhm.
So here's the thing. The traitor theory was correct. All of them are
Ironically,
traitors. They're just not betraying the same people.
my initial
Right?
guess was the most correct one.
The Aesops
So
are
I'm
betraying
gonna steal
Team
this thunder
RWBY,
from you,
but
Cal.
Marrow and Clover are betraying the Aesops and Ironwood. And so, yeah, what I think is hilarious is people were like, there isn't a traitor. Why do you want all the, why do you want Clover to be the bad guy? Like, this is our gay representation. He's the only one, even though Crow is also gay in that
Arguably.
case, arguably. But I'm like, no, you guys, you don't understand. The traitor never meant someone was gonna be bad. It just meant that they were going to go against their current ideals, right? Clover is going against everything that he sort of ever thought for, and he's going to instead side with Crow. Because, like, at the very beginning...
Or will he?
Right? Maybe. I'm just saying theoretically,
the
or
air.
Marrow, or whatever, right? Like, the whole thing was like, hey, like, you can explain yourself when you get up to Ironwood, right? And, like, that's the whole thing. He captures Team RWBY even though they're trying to help and all that stuff, right? And, like, with Marrow, it's the same thing. He obviously joined the Aesops. He's like, we don't have time to solve these economic, political issues right now. Fuck that, right?
However,
Are you following the law, Robin
we found
Hill?
a gap
right?
that we can
And so it's
get
one of
you
those
in.
things where it's like, I feel like a lot of people misunderstood the traitor theory as people wanting Clover to be evil and stuff like that, which that's not it, right? Like, they're all betraying something.
Ironwood, but Ironwood wouldn't be
Ironwood,
a bad
in a sense,
guy.
is
Or they would
betraying
betray
Team
Team
RWBY.
RWBY in
Clover
favor
and
of
Marrow
Ironwood.
theoretically will betray Ironwood, and then the rest of the Aesops are betraying
We
Team
didn't
RWBY.
predict Clover and Marrow betraying
In fairness, everyone's a
Team
traitor.
Aesops betraying
Yeah.
Ironwood, or
That-
betraying Team RWBY.
That's the other thing, like,
We only
Blake and
portray-
Yang told Robin, so they're the traitors, and Ruby's the traitors. The only one
Okay.
who hasn't done anything is Weiss.
I feel like okay, you have to admit you were wrong about Aesops being connected to Watts. Because that was originally a part of it.
Well, part of it was like, what if one of the Aesops is an inside for Watts? And that
Yes.
doesn't seem like that's the case.
Yeah, so you
Or that Watts was the professor and
you
Watts
were
made
going
the
hard
Aesop
for that.
program.
You were going
Yeah,
hard.
in the first couple episodes, but not like
That was
it's not
the
like,
origin. So let's be honest with ourselves.
Yeah, but
we
I'm
were
saying-
right about the other stuff, but we were still
Hunter,
wrong
isn't
about
that what you
most
said?
of that.
Just because your idea starts one way in the beginning doesn't mean that you can't go back and change
I know,
it.
but I will still acknowledge that but you can't take a 100% victory on this.
I mean, I'm peeved. I'm not taking a victory. I really don't care. I'm just saying that I'm peeved that
cares?
people said that, like,
Oh,
they're
yeah,
all the
like,
traitors,
yeah.
that's bad. Like, no, like, it's not.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I know
Like,
what you
I
mean.
think that people sort of gripe with the traitor dash the dying theory, and I guess I can understand, like, the people mad about the dying stuff,
Mhm.
but, like, and people's argument, I guess, was like, oh, well, this is our first, like gay male character, and these are our first, like POC characters, you don't
That's
need to
not
say
the
it
first
twice.
one.
Anyway, and so it's one of those things where it's like, if you want them all to be, like, evil or you don't want them to die, like, that's problematic. And I was just like, well, we don't want them to die. We were just saying they could. But now it's sort of like, when we were saying that they were traitors, it's not that they were going to be evil, right? The only one that we thought could have possibly been an inside man was, like, Clover.
And also Marrow. We had that whole thing about Marrow not
what's
stopping.
Marrow? Why didn't you
Penny's
stop
attack.
Watts? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And so it was one of those things, right? But yeah, I'm just saying that it's like, they're all traitors, but they're not traitors in the sense that they're evil. And so
they're not.
That just bothers me.
Yeah, traitor is. It's not like they're all with Salem. They're
Exactly,
just,
and
they're like
that's what I'm saying.
Initially, like that was my idea of like they would just be on the side of Ironwood if he became more dictator.
I also explained this before. I don't think it's bad to just theorize about things, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. People have to fucking relax with it's like, oh, well, if this happens, it would be problematic. Like, there have been problematic things this season. And I think, like, the fat stuff is part of it. I don't think all the Aesop's dying would be problematic. So that's just that on that. So yeah, that bothers me. Cal was right. The baby was kidnapped. I was, and I'm gonna take that. Okay,
what baby?
The Oscar. I'm gonna take that giant I'm gonna take that giant W. Okay, because that was a big one too. And we said that 2 weeks ago, even before you know what I mean? Like we said that a long time ago. Like not even last week's episode. We said that the week before, right? So it's like, anyway. So yeah, there was this scene. Watts dismantled the outer barrier.
They're offline with all the chaos we didn't notice. So either that was Watts that turned them off, or they were destroyed, as Ironwood predicts that the flying monkeys are on their way. Which, do you think that's going to be a Volume 8 thing, that the flying monkeys show up?
Probably, I guess. I don't know how much time we have. I remember someone on Tumblr saying Marrow being teased by the Aesops was racist. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, y'all gotta have to, fucking chill.
Yeah, there's
just
layers
relax.
to that.
I don't know. I've been blocked on Twitter by people I've never even interacted with because we were like, what if Clover dies? How dare you, Cal? How dare you even suggest he may die? I don't know. It was a possibility. I don't think he will now. Not,
no.
The past couple weeks we've been like, is there really a traitor, though? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we kind of abandoned the ship on the theory a little bit near the end there. But yeah. Whoops. Yeah, so this isn't good. None of this is good. And it's Ironwood looking in the mirror like Salem was earlier. That's bad as well.
It's certainly, he's kind of gone there. That's what
And he also said the same thing. He was like, the timeline has changed. He said the exact same thing that Cinder has.
Yes.
That's not good.
Which is surprising.
The power of the Winter Maiden, and Weiss is just like...
Freya's gonna die, which means maybe next episode, do you think that whole Nora thing, Freya thing will be a misdirect? The staff and the lamp have to be locked away. They're taking the lamp from them.
Yeah, taking the lamp from them and all that.
So I was not initially right about him being a dictator. Earlier on in this very episode, watching it, I was like, is Ironwood a good guy? He comes around to being a little more dictatorish.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel justified in my earlier paranoia.
He also makes sort of the argument, everyone's exhausted, everyone's beat, and we haven't even done the real fight yet. How do we, what is the choice? What am I trying to say?
What other options
What other options are there? Right, so he puts down, this is what I was talking about. So when you guys were like, Cal, no, he still has his white gun. This is what I meant, is that he puts the white gun on the table and gives it up. Right, he gives up the good part. He already lost, I don't know which one's which. He lost the black one, so the yin or the yang, and now he's giving up the other half. Right, so now he's just putting all his guns down, and instead he picks up the black piece. Yeah. The black glass,
which
right?
is also,
do you guys understand what I mean?
Piece.
He throws away the black gun, and maybe he doesn't kill Watts. If Watts is still alive, that'll sort of go with he's choosing to imprison Watts instead of destroying Watts and killing Watts. Now he's putting down his white gun, which was the good, which was the, the white half of the circle, as we sort of talked about, right? And now he's picking up the black piece instead, which is, again, the destruction. Metaphors.
Also, he burned his human hand, as we discussed
earlier. I'm just saying the stuff with the guns is also important.
It's relevant.
Right? And so he also
is going to launch
eats the I don't know what that represents. He eats that too. He's just doing his own thing now, right? Maybe that could be morally gray. Does that make sense?
I don't. Maybe you might be looking a little too much into this.
You know what I mean?
That they just thought it was that was his.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying in general, what if that was the thing about having the two guns? It was a balance, but now it's out of balance. It's all out of whack, right? Yeah. So he didn't take it far enough. That's a little awkward. So I guess we're going into the sky. I feel like Marrow's definitely not on board with this.
And Marrow looks the most frightened, so part of me thinks he will, like, do the stop. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea for him to be like, stay.
Yeah, everyone else just
Team
looks
RWBY,
grim.
get out of here!
Marrow looks bothered by the idea that he's becoming a dictator and enacting martial law, so there'll just be a military dictatorship in Atlas. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Best chance of getting the staff. Oh no.
Because is that the best chance? I guess. But
I think that, because, well, really, okay, so hypothetically, he hoards all the food and shoots some stealth up into the sky.
Yeah.
Salem earlier talked about, like, time, like, talked about how she has all the time in the world and that's her benefit. Like, Salem
this
can just...
isn't really gonna help. She can just wait it out.
Yeah, wait it out with an army of Grimm, and eventually they're going to need to come down for food or something.
Yeah.
And so by cutting yourself off, you may save your skin for a while, but eventually
even
Salem
here says
will
we
come
ran
to you.
ourselves ragged trying to save Mantle tonight, and I feel like that is a good point. Right? Like, that is like, listen, the military's exhausted, everything's exhausted, what else are we supposed to do? Like, I feel like that what this episode was good at doing is that you can agree with everyone's points. Does that make sense? Like, you can agree with the fact...
You can see the logic behind it.
People have died, people have been injured, like, in the
from.
military, and you can see that idea of, like, why are we all just gonna die fighting this, or should we try something else to, you know what I mean? And I also agree with Yang, is that, like, you know, you can't just run away from the fight, but then it's like, you can't focus on one single fight while trying to win a war.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
I just feel like there's, again, like, this is, like, the philosophy of ethics and stuff like that. It's a train argument, right? Do you change the train track to hit 2 people instead of 6 people? Or do you keep the train on its course to kill 6 people, right? And so some people have different answers to that. Well, if it was, you know, in the direction of 6 people, that's a destiny. Like, I'm not gonna fuck with that. I'm not gonna change it, right? Or, like, you know, if you change it to the 2, that's you, like, that could also be your destiny, is for you to save them, but you don't, right? Because it's like, I don't know. I feel like the train argument is a good one here, because either way people are going to die, but Ironwood has decided that the people are
But everyone's going to die eventually if they bind themselves together.
Know.
And I think that's... Because, like, Salem did exactly what she needed to do.
And so I feel like, though, in Ironwood's mind, it's like, it's the Atlas, or the people of Mantle are the 2 people on the tracks, and Atlas is like the 10 people on the tracks.
Maybe.
Obviously, you'd save the 10 people, and the relic, and the, right.
But I would also think that there's more people in the impoverished Mantle than there would be in the rich
Listen, by the
Atlas.
time they get everyone up to Mantle,
but they didn't
and, like,
even
enact this
there
plan,
could still
I don't
be
know.
millions of people, presumably even more people in Mantle.
I feel like I would need to, like, for a proper philosophical debate, you would have to know how many people are in Mantle.
But I would make the argument that there probably is more people in Mantle.
But then it's also like, and I know that people aren't gonna like this, but when you think about philosophy, you think about who has more value. All of the scientists
you're saying
in
the poor people get to die?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you were looking at it, like, if you were looking at different philosophical sort of minds of thought or schools of thought, like, for example, you know, this is a bad example. In psychology class, which is a whole different thing, we were talking about, like, you have the structuralists, you have the functionalists, you have the evolutionists, and you have, like, people that believe in Freud, even though Freud's not really a thing anymore, right? And so you have those different schools of thought. I'm saying that if we move over to philosophy, if you're looking at different philosophers, a philosopher would say, well, yeah, clearly all of the rich people and all of the scientists and all of sort of the educated minds are more important than the poor people.
So you're
That's
saying
what I'm
Jacques
saying.
is more important than Fiona?
No!
Or you're saying that's what he's thinking?
I'm saying that is a philosophical argument. I'm not saying that's not the one that I would make. I'm just saying that is a philosophical argument that could be incorporated.
Because here's the thing, rich people that may or may not be watching this, even middle class people living in the North American continent.
Yeah.
We only exist because there are poor people at our base. We only exist here on this pyramid, so if they shot up, there would very quickly be a secondary class of citizens, even in Atlas.
Yeah.
That second class citizens could also potentially been the people that were
talking
once
about
rich.
different philosophy. That, like, some philosophers would be like, well, you know, if the 6 people are the ones that are like on the track, and if you don't change it, they die, well, that's the will of God. Don't touch that. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like other philosophers would be like, this is a bad idea because every human life is equal. Some philosophers don't think that. Some philosophers think there's like the philosopher king, and then there's the military, and then there's the architects.
Yes, you're a philosophy minor. We get it, Cap.
No, I'm just trying to say, again, I'm trying to
different
clarify,
arguments for
I
it.
do not want poor people to die. Can we just say that?
You heard it here first. Cal hates poor people.
Yeah.
If you can't afford thousands of dollars of RT merch, she doesn't want to hear about your broke ass being eaten by a grim saber-toothed tiger.
I just don't want someone to fake expose me on Twitter, okay? I'm talking about different philosophers. I'm not saying that I believe that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just like I'm not saying that we should all believe in Freud. I'm just saying that there are people that believe in Freud, and then there's everyone else.
Then there's the reasonable people, which arguably maybe Ironwood does, you know,
well, yeah,
believe
I
in
think
Freud
that
because he really likes his stats and he wants to, using that staff, launch himself really high in the air.
I think Ironwood.
He wants to erect a tower.
I think that Ironwood would genuinely believe that the people of Atlas are worth more than the people of Mantle. Because the people of Mantle are basically just like Faunus, poor people, coal miners, or dust miners, I guess, all that stuff. Whereas Atlas, it's like, we have the tech and the stuff, right? And so I feel like that is how Ironwood thinks. Yes. Like, I think he is like, yeah, fuck the poor. Oops, our thing's more important. Like, I think that he does think that. So yeah, that's awkward. I don't suggest that.
Fuck the poor.
And so she's like, no! Like, look at how disappointed Weiss is. Right? She's like, no! Ironwood, what the fuck?
Because she's like, now you're sounding like my dad.
Because, like, look, I don't know. There's just, I love how this line delivery, because she just is so sad. You know what I mean? She's just so disappointed and she's just like, no, like, what the fuck are you doing, Ironwood? Stop it.
You're falling for Salem's
Yeah, you can see how she's like, no, like, in her eyes, sort of, you know?
What about Robin? Are you loyal? We are loyal to the people counting on us to
save
them.
Yeah, so this is different philosophy,
I love that
right?
line.
So, like...
That they're like, we're in it for our... That is who they're in it for. They're in it for Atlas. They're in it for whoever needs us most. And right now, Mantle needs us most. And we all need to work together. Because together, we have more of a chance than if we just hide between our tails up in the sky.
Whoa.
I really love that they're all in the same... This scene I was crazy for. When they're looking at each other.
So... People think, for some reason, that Ironwood already sent someone to go get Oscar. And that's what the fighting is from. I don't think that that's true, because Oscar wouldn't know that Ironwood went dictator, and so Oscar would be like, oh, Ironwood wants me? He brought some guards? I'm protected. Let's go! Right? Oscar wouldn't think anything, right?
In fact, those guards that were there were probably already there when defending Arthur or Oscar.
Yeah, exactly.
When
so
Cinder
people sort of thought like, oh, like this scuffle is because the guards tried to forcibly bring Oscar here. I don't think that's it at all. Because he seems more like, because he doesn't seem surprised. Oh, wait, no, he does seem surprised. Look, he says, it's John, we got a serious problem. He seems shocked, but at the same time, he's like, don't answer that shit. Don't answer that. So, like, it's one thing where it's like, does Ironwood think the serious problem is Oscar going missing, but Oscar hasn't actually gone missing? Oscar's been
It's that that they can tell that they're on different sides and they disagree with Ironwood and that she'll pull something like she does pull. Also, go back there for a moment. I didn't notice that Blake has knee pads. I was like, oh, that's cool. But then how do you unzip it? Do you have to unbuckle the knee pads and then unzip? That just seems like
I definitely think that Ironwood had nothing to do with what happened to Oscar. I think that is all Neo. Right? So...
She also jumps, and then Ironwood's declaring martial law. And
I like how she explains this. Ironwood is 1. Declaring martial law. 2. Abandoning Mantle. 3. Salem is coming by the holding up 4 fingers, and he's gonna move the staff.
They have a group chat. That's cute.
Cute.
Also, Penny and Winter hears.
Yeah, because they're all connected.
I feel like we should do a video about who will side with Ironwood and who won't. Because we've kind of thrown, but when we get to Penny, I think that Penny, there's some interesting build up there. Winter, there's some... Winder? Wow.
Winder.
Okay, I'll do the talking now.
Winter knows that this is a little sketchy. Right? And I think that she still will go reclaim the Winter Maiden powers, but I think that Penny will definitely be like, well, Ruby's my friend, so we should help her. Right? Here's the thing. Who are you loyal to? I think that Weiss is cared more about by her sister than Ironwood. Does that make sense? I think that Winter cares more about Weiss than Ironwood.
Yeah,
and so if Weiss is in trouble, I feel like Winter will be like, fuck everything.
What if,
Weiss.
because like early on I predicted that Winter would like go bad and side with Ironwood. Do you think that might happen here?
I don't know. I think that Winter cares a lot about her sister, and even though she cares about Ironwood, she can also recognize maybe like the franticness in Ruby's voice, and that this is not Gucci. I don't know. I feel like that Winter and Penny won't really talk. Like, I feel like Penny will be like, well, Ruby's my friend. Should we go help her? And then Winter will be like, we can figure out what to do about that later. Let's just focus on getting the maiden powers, right? Winter is like one step ahead. Let's just do what we were ordered to do, and we'll come back for them later. Does that make sense? I feel like that'll be the conversation. I feel like that Winter won't be like, I must go help Ironwood to the skies. Like, I feel like that she's not just gonna like.
But it certainly like, builds up away, that right? Like people are gonna have to take sides of either RWBY.
I just think that
Ironwood.
Penny and Winter are gonna be like, that sounds awkward. Let's not deal with that. Let me get the powers first.
I think they built up Penny betraying Ironwood and going with RWBY.
I think they definitely have. I just think that. Do you understand what I mean? I think that they won't have a big conversation. I feel like Winter will be like, let's go get the maiden power first.
Maybe like Winter will keep walking and Penny will stay there. And she's like, why aren't you coming with me, Penny? And then Penny's like, I don't know what I should do. There's an Then maybe she turns around, she makes her decision. Maybe she follows through with Ironwood for a time, but eventually goes with RWBY.
I just think Winter is gonna be like, we'll deal with that later. Let's go get the maiden powers because Cinder may already have them.
That's to kill an old lady is what we need to do.
So yeah. So
this was a really tense scene. They look
like
Robin is
like a trap again, and then Crow's just like, buddy.
And how do you? Because I'm looking at
Clover's
surprised, but then he gets a little hard in the face. And then Tyrion looks between them and starts giggling.
Like,
part of me wonders, is Clover gonna stick with them? Is Clover gonna betray them? I think that's a discussion for a video, but I don't know. I think it might be out there. I think at least for a time.
I think it's 50-50. I think, here's what I'm gonna say. Marrow, 99%. Okay, I would fucking bet like $100 on Marrow, like, helping Team RWBY and doing the stay. Even doing the stay, I bet, right? With Clover, would I bet $100? No. Would I bet like $20? Yes. So that's, you guys can understand the levels of my confidence based on how much money, right? Like, Clover gets a $20 bill, Marrow gets like a $100 bill.
You still owe me for the Christina V bet.
Don't worry, Hunter. It'll all be okay. But yeah, so that's sort of what I see about Clover. Clover's like an Clover's not in the best position at the moment. I think at the moment's funny because at the moment is also ATM, and I was talking about how much they're worth, and so I thought that they're not the best position. Get it? Because they're not in the best position compared to my money.
You're funny when you're sleep deprived.
Scale. Anyway, yeah. Marrow is gonna be like, run, bitch, run. But Clover may be like, well.
I don't know. Clover, I don't know. There might be a rift break because also in his card where they talk about, like, they released a little, like, Yu-Gi-Oh card. Like, he was loyal to Atlas.
Yeah.
He's loyal to Underwood. But then again, is being loyal to Atlas the same as being loyal to Underwood?
No.
That might not. So maybe, or Ironwood.
Underwood.
Ironwood. Oh, Underwood's a character from House of Cards. Anyways, another person you should not be loyal to.
Clover seems shocked. I don't think he knew.
But he also tightens up a little, so I don't know.
What I would say is that this week is going to be interesting because people are going to be like, this is supposed to be our gay character. Crow and Clover are supposed to be together.
Listen,
how can they make Clover evil, right?
Couples still fight.
When nothing has even happened to him yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, they haven't even... I'm just saying that this week, the Clover fans and the Clover haters, like, are gonna be in close combat, even though it's not definitive what he's gonna do. Like, this is what I hate.
Sometimes gay people are sellouts. It's just the truth.
Anyway.
It's okay to admit it.
What I was going to say...
He's the Pete Buttigieg of RWBY.
What I was gonna say was that it always makes me give a chuckle in the RWBY fandom when people start arguing about something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
It would be so problematic if Clover turned out to be evil. Well, he hasn't yet, so shut the fuck up. We don't know what they're gonna do yet. Relax, okay?
Very good point.
And so I hate that people are fighting with each other. You know what I mean? Like, that people are like, oh, like, Clover, like, he's so bad because he's gonna do this. He hasn't done anything yet. He's not bad yet because he hasn't betrayed them yet. Relax. Calm down. It's going to be okay. It is just a cartoon. But yeah, Clover has neither turned out to be evil, nor has he been confirmed gay yet. Yeah, it's.
I feel like we're putting eggs in a basket, and maybe that basket has a hole in it. You know?
Exactly. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, people are so like, I guess, hooked on the idea of Clover and Crow, and I like Clover and Crow. Okay, like,
And
I
listen,
think that this shit
it would be
is great.
boring if they just loved each other. Like, you know, a little conflict in there.
Exactly.
There could be a little
this
conflict.
is the conflict. Just a.
Maybe he sells out for a time, but maybe
RWBY can
next
have
volume
a little conflict.
as a
Cats
treat.
can have a little salami as a treat. Anyway, we can continue on. Tyrion's loving this.
He just is having such a good time, but then it's locked. And I feel like the fact that Ironwood was able to lock it and Ironwood
cut off
gave
their
them
fucking cell phone bills.
Ironwood knew that maybe in the future he might have to do that.
Yeah.
He might
That's
he
awkward.
might have to cut off the scrolls he gave them. I also love how she like lifts up from behind it.
You're all
Under arrest.
Whoops.
Marrow looks afraid of that. He does not look like
Yeah,
he's
see,
enjoying
Marrow
this.
doesn't look like he's happy. He's
Marrow's gonna
definitely
stop
gonna
them.
stop them.
Also-
Especially because, look, all of Team RWBY's on that side,
Yeah.
all the Aesops... Okay, Team RWBY's on that side, Aesops are on this side. So if Marrow goes stay, it radiates sort of like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Team RWBY is here, but Aesops are here. And so that means, like, if Marrow goes in front of them and does stay, Team RWBY would be unaffected. Does that make sense? Do you guys understand?
It makes a certain degree of sense. I will allow it.
Right,
But,
and
like, he doesn't
they do
look-
line up.
He doesn't look. Everyone else looks grim and determination. He looks nervous. Like, look at that face. That
Yeah,
sweet
Marrow's
boy.
like,
He doesn't
"I
want to
don't
do
wanna
that.
this." But yeah, I'm
He
pretty
doesn't like
sure that
martial
Marrow is not going to betray them.
No, I
He
don't
is
think
going
that's
to
true. I know.
stop everyone and let them run away out
This-
the window.
I've never felt like my stomach drop watching RWBY before.
And here's the kicker. Here's the
kick.
best part of this entire episode. Okay,
mhm.
and you know why it's the best part? Because I was right.
Mom, give
doesn't
me back
love-
my phone. It looks like all the comms are locked. So maybe it's not just RWBY, it's everybody.
Who doesn't love being correct? I mean, they're locked because you can't go RWBY anymore. Does that make sense?
I guess
like
so.
you can't. What was I saying? Like you can't contact RWBY anymore.
Go
so
to
it's
Twitter,
like
you'll
locked.
remember stuff better.
I was looking at this post that someone sent me, but it's fine. It was a post about just the opening again.
Mhm,
I was like, oh, did I get tagged in something new? No.
mhm.
Oh, yes, this is my favorite because it's, that's what I was looking for, right? Because someone tweeted me and said, Cal, you were right. And that's my favorite thing to hear. So, of course, I was
So
excited.
earlier, when
about
they said
why.
you were right, it was that
I
they
think it was
kidnapped-
about Oscar
Oscar,
being
okay.
kidnapped, right? And so, did you tell them? And so, what the?
So I'm
What
looking at those
happened
scorch
here?
marks. That
That's
could be
Cinder
That could
for
be Cinder.
sure.
That could be also gunfire. I'm getting Cinder.
$3. Somebody said, hug the RWBY. Yeah, RWBY needs a little hug.
A little hug. Let's
Yeah.
just snuggle.
And so,
Hey, we got $3.
yeah,
Yeah, for
That's
hug
what
the
I
Rube.
just said.
Okay. Oh, you didn't know about the $3 thing.
I just read. So Cinder definitely scorched some fun. So I
Mhm.
feel like these people were protecting Oscar and the Relic.
Yeah.
They're not anymore. Has Oscar been kidnapped?
But
Yes.
Ruby also doesn't know that, so they could still
No.
do the thing where they pretend to be Oscar,
Where she
With
pretends
RWBY,
to be RWBY?
where
or
Neo pretends to be Oscar.
What if it's the reverse? Instead of RWBY kissing Oscar as Neo, it's Oscar kissing RWBY as Neo. Hey,
And that would go into
Fella-
our earlier idea
fellas,
of,
is it gay if Neo kisses RWBY
as Oscar.
as Oscar?
Well, it's talking about it being gay. That would give more credibility to us, to our belief of her being trans or gender fluid. The idea
Good
that, like,
job.
one, we might not know what she actually
So I
looks
was
like.
right.
And
2
Yeah.
weeks ago, I made a theory about Cinder kidnapping Oscar.
Mhm.
Basically, when Cinder was reintroduced. Not even when they were like, oh, like, do you know where the farm boy with the lamp is? Maybe you should go
Mhm.
get that. Because then it was obvious it was going to happen. I predicted it before it
And
was
1 year
obvious.
ago, I said that Neo was gonna steal Oscar and poison the casserole. And what happened 1 year in an entirely different situation? Poisoned the casserole. Metaphorically speaking. Poisoning the casserole is of course a metaphor.
This is everything, guys.
That should be the name of a new trope when a villain that could transform into people transforms into someone, takes their identity, and screws over with you.
My God.
Like what did Double Trouble do in She-Ra? You know, they poisoned the casserole.
Is there anything else you guys want us to talk about before we go?
Not the casserole.
Anything else? Because I think that we're good.
We're
gonna make multiple videos.
They just
during
kept
the week,
on
right?
going. I feel like we're gonna do one of like who's gonna align to whose side.
Yeah,
Once
we're
they
definitely
get
gonna do like
the Oscar kissy
betray
Ruby
stuff.
thing. Betray. Yes.
Oscar. I don't know. I don't want to do another Oscar video.
What's
just
the
'cause we already
monster?
did
What's
it.
the monster coming? Was that Watts? Is the flying monkeys gonna show up?
Yeah, like the Grim Armada,
Mhm.
stuff like that.
This could be very interesting. Will Penny?
Nora being
join-
the Winter Maiden, we talked about that.
Yeah, we all talk. It's funny. We predicted this a week out from it being more obvious. So.
Yeah, I feel like Atlas.
So like,
follows
high five
through.
for us for predicting this. I feel like I wasn't more excited about it because of how terrifying
Penny
a lot of this
becoming
stuff
the
is.
Winter Maiden. We kind of talked about that as well. I feel like that.
Yeah,
we're
that
pretty
was-
much run
That was
dry.
months ago. The idea that they
Penny
created Penny
just to put
yeah.
the Winter Maiden in
Mhm.
a robot and stuff. I think we're
Mhm.
good. I think I do have ideas for this week, but I think it's gonna be after we stream that we really
Yes.
sort of
Mhm.
think about what people
ruminate
would
in
like
it.
us to talk
But
about.
you know, those are a couple video ideas. I think we already.
Yeah.
They're definitely there.
But we definitely we predicted some good shit.
After Volume 6 was so great, I was like, are they going to be able to keep up? Like
no,
the
this
quality.
volume's so much better.
It is. I don't know if I think regardless they've kept up the quality and this has been so amazing.
I think it's so much better just because it's improved on characters I didn't like before, like Jacques.
Oh,
and
certainly,
Crow and
yeah.
stuff. That's why I would say that it's better.
Jacques and Nora.
I feel
for
like
me,
Eddie
personally.
and Kiersey have really just helped overall with the
Also,
quality of the
will
volume.
Lai Ren go with Ironwood or will he go with Team Ruby just off the basis of his
We
old
had that
stuff?
video too about their romance being
Yeah. Oh
destroyed
man.
and stuff, but yeah.
Also,
Anyway.
yeah, so I feel like we're gonna have a lot of betrayal videos.
Thank you
coming
guys
your
for
way.
joining into the stream. I'm gonna go to sleep.
That Cinder model, that Salem scene gave me depression.
Oh, God.
And also is potentially the single greatest thing that has happened so far. One of my favorite moments so far this volume.
But yeah, I'm so tired.
I'm so hyped for an
going
Aesop's
to go
fight
sleep.
with Ruby, even if it's a short one,
I-
before he stays.
I wish I had this pretend energy all the time.
Mhm. It's
but
also
yeah.
almost 8:30 and I need to be
It's
home.
been a long day,
Oh, boy.
okay? I've been awake since 5 a.m. because I had a dream that I was in my driveway trying to get into the car for my audition, and Tyrion came out of my house and killed me. And then I woke up.
I love
So
how
that's
back when
where
we were
we're-
reacting to we're not reacting, but even doing videos on Volume 4, we did it for like 40 minutes, and I was like, wow, that's so long. That's like twice as long.
How
the
long
episode.
is this one?
2 hours.
Really? We've been here for 2 hours?
And
Well,
it's
my
just
brain's
like-
not been working either. So
And it's just, I love how
I'm gonna have
slowly
to-
we've developed an ability to monologue about Ruby.
We're gonna be up to Arnold. We're gonna be it's gonna be 4
Oh my God.
hours, 5 hours.
4 hours, I'm gonna politely ask you to fuck yourself if you
Anyway.
make me do a video for 4 hours.
We'll see
Oh
you
my
guys
god. Ah.
later. Bye, guys.